The three young girls were slightly surprised, and they were all ready to do it. But now, it seems that the White Snake Immortal is not ready to do it. Kuan Yu frowned, and he couldn't figure out what the other party was thinking. I can send you out, and even we can cooperate, said the White Snake Fairy. Cooperate? What do you want? Kuan Yu was slightly surprised. Mount Myoboku, you should know that we can cooperate to win Mount Myoboku, and then that space will belong to you. I think you also feel the rich natural energy here. And Mount Myoboku is no worse than mine. The White Snake Immortal looked at Kuan Yu and said. The group of toads. Kuan Yu sneered in his heart, what a good plan. Let me consume the power of Mount Myoboku. As for the other party who will give him Mount Myoboku later. Kuan Yu didn't believe it at all. The other party definitely had other plans. Moreover, Kuan Yu didn't know the purpose of the three holy places, and it was too dangerous to cooperate with them. Although Kuan Yu didn't care, he didn't like being calculated by others. Hee. What do I want so much natural energy for? Just send me out. I don't want to participate in your dispute, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Fairy White Snake did not speak, but took 2 puffs of cigarettes. Is that so? It's really a pity. If that's the case, I won't keep you. Tian Xin, send him away, the White Snake Immortal said lightly. It actually let Kuan Yu leave without knowing what it was thinking. Yes, a girl behind Kuan Yu bowed and said. Thank you. Kuan Yu politely thanked him. As for what the White Snake Immortal thought, he didn't want to bother at all. Anyway, if you dare to jump out in the future, he will be blamed for being rude. Please follow me, the girl named Tian Xin said blankly. Obviously this person named Kuan Yu is not easy to provoke, and even the White Snake Immortal doesn't want to do it. Kuan Yu followed without hesitation, and he still had some things to do after he went out. Otherwise, it will be too late. Fairy White Snake, is there anything special about the other party, based on yours? A young girl said hesitantly. He is not that simple. According to the information I received, he seems to have a particularly strong power. And I just tried him with the cooperation to capture Mount Myoboku, but he didn't respond, otherwise I wouldn't let him go, the White Snake Fairy said with squinting eyes. The cooperative occupation of Mount Myoboku is actually just a temptation for the White Snake Fairy, and perhaps their relationship with Mount Myoboku is not as tense as Kuan Yu thought. Fortunately, it didn't do it, otherwise, I'm afraid Ryuchi Cave is really going to be destroyed. Kuan Yu's strength is not as simple as they thought. What's more, there is a tail beast in his arms. Even if the White Snake Immortal cannot be killed, the Earth Dragon Cave will be destroyed. Then what should he do? I think he is very hostile to us, a young girl said. Don't worry about him. The human beings themselves are still in a mess, and he is also in a lot of trouble. Maybe he will die sometime, the White Snake Fairy said with a breath of smoke. It has lived for so long and has seen so many things. The ups and downs outside has nothing to do with them. But the old toad had some tricks, he was really old-fashioned. The other side. Kuan Yu followed Tian Xin and walked forward slowly. After walking for a while. Go straight from here, you can leave here, Tian Xin said, pointing to the mist in front of him. Kuan Yu's gaze penetrated past, but it seemed that he could only see the blurred scene, and the distance was not very far. I would trouble you to come with me, Kuan Yu said with a smile. He knew that he could leave Ryuchi Cave without using the summoning formation, but the ghost knew whether it was the exit to the ninja world, in case it was another dimension. Seeing Kuan Yu's distrustful eyes, Tian Xin knew that it wouldn't work if he didn't take a trip. So, she didn't speak, turned and walked straight forward. Kuan Yu also followed and walked into the mist. These mists can't even pass through Kuan Yu's line of sight too far. As if his sight was blocked. And the more I go, the more I feel that there is something wrong with the surrounding space. Kuan Yu has the ability of space and has a keen sense of space. The space here seems to be constantly changing, and even the natural energy has become much less. But this flow direction? Kuan Yu glanced behind him. Is it a channel for absorbing natural energy? Oh, that's it, I'm afraid there is more than one channel like this. Otherwise, it can't explain the strong natural energy in it. After they walked for a while. Gradually, the fog became less and less, and Kuan Yu only felt that the space was blurred, and he came to a dark forest. Tian Xin also disappeared. Quite pretending to be mysterious, Kuan Yu smiled disdainfully. Obviously the entrance here was moved by the White Snake Fairy. Kuan Yu's eyes moved slightly, and then he disappeared here in an instant. The disappeared Kuan Yu instantly appeared in the conference hall of the Sky City, but there was no one here now. Jifu. Thank you very much this time. Kuan Yu put the diamond-shaped medal on the ground. Then the red chakra appeared, and the little turtle appeared. Be careful next time. I don't want to be thrown around by you again, he said, slowly crawling away. Kuan Yu smiled, watched Jifu leave, then waved his hand. Keiko, Grandpa, and his mother appeared here. They were slightly in a trance, but I noticed right away, and Kuan Yu looked at them with a smile. Kuan Yu. Are you okay? Kuan Mei directly grabbed Kuan Yu's arm and kept looking at it. As if she let go, Kuan Yu would disappear. It's okay, mother, they are not my opponents. This is the Sky City. Let me live here first. I will let people know about Konoha, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Is this your base? Where are we? Kuan Yu's grandfather looked around and said in surprise. Heaven, to be precise, is in the heaven of the Iron Kingdom, Kuan Yu said. Iron Country. Yes, I'll take you around. How to say this is also our family's property, Kuan Yu said jokingly. Kuan Yu. Hizzy couldn't help but see Kuan Yu's eyes reddened. I'm wronged you. Kuan Yu walked to Kiko's side and grabbed her hand. In the future, we will not be separated again, Kuan Yu said softly. Kuan Yu's mother and grandpa looked at each other, and both of them had smiles in their eyes. The time when Kuan Yu disappeared really made them sad. Later, Kuan Yu appeared again. But he directly attacked Konoha, which made them very worried, and also made the Senju clan bear some strange eyes. But this time they were arrested, and you don't need to guess that they have something to do with Kuan Yu. This makes them even more frightened. They don't want Kuan Yu to have an accident because of them. Fortunately, Kuan Yu rescued them. Soon, the news of Kuan Yu's return was known to everyone. It's just that they didn't expect that Kuan Yu went out this time to pick up his family. And Itachi and Bai, who knew the whole story of this incident, also breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Kuan Yu went well this time. After that, Bai took Hizzy and the others to get acquainted with it, while Kuan Yu and Itachi came to a platform. Although I didn't reveal too much strength this time, the opponent will probably summon Uchiha Madara, and he still has the same body as you, Kuan Yu said. There are indeed yin and yang escapes in the scroll, but the number is not too large, and it is impossible for Kuan Yu to take fakes. But Kuan Yu doesn't care. Even if Uchiha Madara is resurrected, what if he wants to grab 3 tails from him? No way. The big deal he throws directly into the space. That said, the situation will change soon, Itachi said. Yes, but don't worry too much. Although I may not be able to beat Uchiha Madara, I will not lose, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Itachi was silent for a moment. I am going to be resurrected, he said suddenly. Huh? You figured it out, Kuan Yu said in surprise. Itachi didn't speak, and didn't know what he was thinking. Well, I will find a way to make your body grow as soon as possible. Sorry to bother you. Kuan Yu can indeed make Itachi's body grow up quickly in space, but this is already a creation and consumes a lot of money. But he has other ways to make Itachi's body grow up, and in a better state, the consumption is much smaller than in the space. I'm going to see you later, Kuan Yu said. Shao, Kuan Yu, you go. Itachi was a little surprised. Do you know why I'm not sure to deal with Uchiha Madara? Kuan Yu said meaningfully. Why? Itachi said suspiciously. Although Kuan Yu said that Uchiha Madara was great, he never explained it to them. Because Nagato's Rinnegan was originally from Uchiha Madara. What? Itachi looked shocked. Rinnegan did not exert all his power in the hands of Nagato, but once Rinnegan returned to his original master. Kuan Yu was somewhat silent. For the rest, Kuan Yu, the avatar of the Wheel Tomb, didn't know if he could see it. Coupled with Uchiha Madara's own terrifying power, Kuan Yu said that he was not sure. How did his Rinnegan come? Itachi asked with blinking eyes. Isn't Madara Sharingan? Could it be? Maybe you should have guessed that the eternal Mangekyo is not the end of Sharingan's evolution. Just like my eyes, Rinnegan is a more advanced form, Kuan Yu explained. A more advanced form? Itachi said in shock. Yes, but the evolutionary conditions are quite harsh, Kuan Yu said. Kuan Yu. Did you go to Shao this time to take Rinnegan first? Itachi said suddenly. Kuan Yu's current strength can completely get Rinnegan first, so he asked. No, just remind Nagato, Kuan Yu exhaled. Why? Itachi was puzzled. Itachi couldn't figure out why Kuan Yu did this. For various reasons, if you rob Rinnegan directly, I am afraid that the other party will attack us, and even the ninja world, regardless of the cost. Itachi nodded. if the opponent destroys the ninja world at any cost, they can't help it. But if they really let the other party get Rinnegan, the other party wouldn't do it. But looking at Kuan Yu's appearance, he had other plans, but he wasn't worried. But in fact, Kuan Yu's heart is also very complicated, and he is also hesitant to take Rinnegan away. What are you doing? Nagato said lightly while looking at the figure in front of him. And not far in front of him is Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu left his mark here long ago. Come and meet old friends, why are you not welcome? Nagato didn't have much emotion to see Kuan Yu, but Pen Six Paths walked out slowly behind him. Conan also walked out. Although he didn't think that Kuan Yu alone could pose a threat to him, the necessary preparations were still needed. That's not true, but you seem to be a little troublesome lately, how come you have time to come to me? It's a bit troublesome, but those two jumping clowns are not my opponents, Kuan Yu said relaxedly. It seems that the guy did not succeed. A smile appeared on Nagato's face. Conan looked inexplicably at the unsavory conversation between the two. That said, you are here to retaliate this time, Nagato said with squinting eyes. I'm not so boring yet, I think they did this without your consent, Kuan Yu said. Yes, I don't like this method, let's talk about it. Why are you here this time? Nagato, I'm just here to remind you that you are dangerous now. Danger? Haha, you're talking about the Five Shadows convention, they come as soon as they want, I'm not afraid of them, Nagato said disdainfully. Although he can't completely resist the opponent's all-out attack, they can't defeat him either. He could drag these ninja coalition forces to death. No, it's not them, but another person, an incomparable person, Kuan Yu said, looking into Nagato's eyes. Unmatched? Hee hee. Joke, I don't think anyone can beat me, or say you were talking about yourself, Nagato sneered. Of course it's not me, although I can beat you too, but that person is stronger. Although Kuan Yu didn't want to admit it, the opponent's unrivaled fighting skills were able to crush the ninja allied forces with physical skills alone. Oh, can you beat me? I really want to try your current strength. Nagato stretched out his hand. A suction force was applied to Kuan Yu's body. However, Kuan Yu's body was shaken, which offset the suction. It's not good, but I'm telling the truth, you are no longer my opponent. Nagato's expression was shocked. This was the first time his universal pull had missed. It seems that you have improved again, but that doesn't tell you much. You haven't seen my true power yet, Nagato put his hand away and said. Then how do you know how much I have improved, Nagato? Kuan Yu's eyes began to change. He opened the blue 10-star eyes. The violent pupil power suddenly radiated from Kuan Yu's eyes. Makes Nagato tight. This. Impossible, what kind of eyes are you? Nagato said in horror. Conan also looked at Kuan Yu in shock, and took 2 steps back involuntarily. Nagato can feel that this pupil power is not lost to him at all, and even gives him a stronger feeling. But how is this possible? The blue 10-star eyes, this is the same level as Rinnegan's eyes. Kuan Yu retracted his pupil power, and his eyes returned to black. This kind of control. Nagato was surprised. Kuan Yu could actually reduce his pupil power completely, even he couldn't. Blue 10-star eyes. Nagato's mouth showed bitterness. He didn't expect Kuan Yu to make such progress in a short time. Although I don't know the abilities of these eyes, they are definitely not weak in terms of pupil power. Since you already have such a strong strength, why don't you beat me or even steal my eyes? Nagato's tone sank. Nagato, you should know that I had many opportunities to take your eyes off before, but I didn't do that, Kuan Yu said lightly. Nagato was silent. For Kuan Yu, Nagato's heart is indeed very complicated, and he does not understand why Kuan Yu did this. Actually, the fate you think is only made up for you by others. Even your eyes are not yours, what do you mean by this? Nagato was startled, but suddenly became angry. He, who claims to be a god, is proud of having these eyes, but Kuan Yu actually said that these eyes are not his own. I mean, these eyes are not yours, but someone put them on you. I have no worse eyes than you, but there will never be a backlash problem, don't you understand? Kuan Yu's words seemed to strike a heavy hammer, causing Nagato's heart to violently shake. Conan's face was also shocked. It's impossible, I don't believe it, you are lying to me. Nagato stared at Kuan Yu closely, as if to see something on Kuan Yu's face. But Kuan Yu's expression remained unchanged. I don't have to lie to you, I think your eyes should have the same ability as Sharingan. Nagato's expression was shocked. How do you know? Nagato said in shock. Because my eyes also evolved from Sharingan. A pair of blue Sharingan appeared in Kuan Yu's eyes. The blue Sharingan? Conan exclaimed. I can turn on Sharingan at all stages, but you can't. Do you still think these eyes are yours now? Quan Yu's eyes became Mangekyo, then blue 10-star eyes, and finally black again. Nagato gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. To the master of eyes, Yi Kuan-Yu did prove that Rinnegan was not his original eyes, but was implanted by someone else. You don't have Sharingan. Why can you control these eyes so much? Nagato said unwillingly. It is true that these eyes were not mine before, but because of some unexpected circumstances, they merged with me, and now they truly belong to me. The power of the small Tensigan is not comparable to that of a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. It directly transforms Mangekyo Sharingan forcibly. And the original owner of your eyes is Uchiha Madara. Quan Yu spit out the name quietly. Uchiha Madara? Isn't that person Uchiha Madara? He shouldn't have such a strong strength. Conan stood up and said. Do you really think Uchiha Madara will kidnap my family? The real Uchiha Madara is dead, Quan Yu said. Dead? Conan frowned. He doesn't know what Quan Yu said about a dead person, even if Nagato's eyes are not his own, but since the original owner is dead, what impact will it have? Haha, it turned out to be like this, ha ha ha. Nagato laughed a few times, a little sad in his laughter, but became silent in a blink of an eye. He already knows something. Resurrection? It was this idea, Nagato said softly. It seems you know, Quan Yu said. You've said so much, I can't guess it anymore. It's not that I'm useless, Nagato said quietly. But his face became distorted in a blink of an eye. What a Uchiha Madara, really good, Nagato gritted his teeth. He thought of Yahiko's death, thought of the end of his backlash by Rinnegan, and thought of his experience for so long, all of which were afraid of making wedding dresses for that person. Why help me? Nagato looked at Quan Yu. To be honest, I want to deal with him with you, I'm not sure about it alone. And we should be considered relatives, Quan Yu said with a smile. Relatives? Conan was startled. Rinnegan can only be warmed up by sage body, and your red hair color can only prove that you are from the Whirlpool family, Quan Yu said with a smile. The Uzumaki clan. I am from the Uzumaki clan. Nagato was somewhat silent. It was the first time he knew he was from the Uzumaki clan. And the only person in this clan who is still alive, who he has always wanted, is Nine-Tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Naruto. Am I killing my own people? For a while, Nagato couldn't accept it. Nagato was silent, he didn't know how to accept this. Nagato, the only remaining members of the Vortex clan are. Conan said hesitantly. I know, Nagato said complicatedly. No, there is another one. I found it during the Chunin exam. Her name is Shanglin. She is in Konoha now, Quan Yu said with a smile. Nagato's expression moved, but he fell silent in a blink of an eye. Go. I won't work with you, Nagato whispered. Nagato, Conan looked at Nagato worriedly. The current situation is undoubtedly the best plan to cooperate with Quan Yu. Nagato glanced at Conan, his originally bright eyes became slightly dim. Well, be careful yourself. Nagato was unwilling to cooperate, and Quan Yu had no choice. In fact, he had guessed the result before he came. With Nagato's stubborn character, he would not agree. The cognition completely collapsed in a moment, which felt absolutely uncomfortable. Just when Quan Yu was about to leave. Wait a minute, Nagato spoke again. Conan's face also turned into surprise, he thought Nagato had changed his mind. I need you to do me a favor, Nagato glanced at Conan and said. Help? Quan Yu was a little confused. Can? Quan Yu noticed Nagato's subtle movements and sighed helplessly. Nagato was afraid that he was determined to die. You wait a minute, Conan, you come with me. After Nagato finished speaking, he turned and walked back. Quan Yu also waited quietly. After a while, Heavenly Path Pain walked out with Conan in his arms. Conan, leave it to you. Tiando Pain came to Quan Yu and said. Yeah, Quan Yu nodded quietly. Actually, you can take revenge with me, you are just dying like this, Quan Yu said. Send to death? Maybe, but even if I die, I will make him pay. Nagato's tone revealed a wave of hatred and madness. He cannot accept that his destiny is always controlled by others. He even killed Yahiko and left himself crippled for so long. But he is dead. What good is it for you? Of course it's useful. You don't need to worry about this. Let's take Conan away. Tiando Pain put Conan in Quan Yu's arms. Quan Yu shook his head. Nagato's character is too paranoid. Then good luck. Take care of Conan, don't make her think about it. Tiando Pain looked at Conan in Quan Yu's arms, and a trace of sadness flashed in his eyes. Kuan Yu nodded, and then disappeared here in an instant. In the dark room, a Rinnegan was shining brightly. Hehe. Uchiha Madara, I am waiting for you. I want you to try the taste of being calculated. Kuan Yu appeared in the conference hall instantly, and there was still a person sitting in the conference hall. It was Itachi. After Kuan Yu left, he has been waiting here. This is. Itachi looked at Konan, who Kuan Yu was holding, in surprise. It doesn't make sense, Kuan Yu said helplessly. Itachi nodded. He probably knew what Nagato was thinking. It was unexpected that Nagato would let Kuan Yu bring Konan over. After that, Kuan Yu took Konan out of the conference hall, ready to find a room and settle down. The result was unexpected. I said, Kuan Yu, you can't do anything wrong. If Keiko finds out, it will be sad. If you want to marry a few more, you have to wait until after you marry Keiko. Kuan Yu looked at his grandpa, who was preaching speechlessly. Grandpa, it's not what you think. I absolutely didn't do anything to sorry Keiko, Kuan Yu explained. Well, Grandpa doesn't say this, then when are you going to marry Keiko? After dealing with all kinds of things, Kuan Yu went into practice again. On Konan's side, Kuan Yu had arranged Itachi to stay there, and there shouldn't be any problems. As for other things, Kuan Yu left it to Keiko. Keiko had been specially trained to become the leader of the Senju clan, and it was much more reliable than Kuan Yu to handle affairs. Kuan Yu could feel the popularity of Sky City, but he did not feel the slightest confusion. The place where he practiced was turned into a restricted area, and even 2 samurai guards were arranged. Kuan Yu is quite satisfied and deserves to be a good helper. And while Kuan Yu was practicing, Orochimaru also had movement. It must begin. Despite the seal, those chakras are still dissipating, Orochimaru said solemnly. The chakras given by Kuan Yu, although there are seal restrictions, are slowly dissipating. Kuan Yu's things are okay. Obito frowned. To be honest, he was also hesitant to summon Uchiha Madara. There should be no problem. This is a fairly pure chakra, and it has a special nature, said with a blink of an eye. It's actually yin-yang escape. How did Kuan Yu get it? Or such a pure yin-yang escape, Ju thought inwardly. Obito hesitated. Let's get started. The 5 Shadows Conference is about to begin. They not only have to face the pressure in this respect, but Kuan Yu's pressure is even greater. He has now lost the ability to control changes in events. Kuan Yu's strength has increased too fast, and how long has it been before he has become stronger again? There is even a special pair of Sharingan. Hehe, I really can't wait to meet this legendary character, Orochimaru said with a smile. And using this material as a sacrifice, what is the state of the people coming out of Impure World reincarnation? I'm very curious. Orochimaru has also studied this kind of chakra, but can't tell which attribute it is. Be careful. This adult has a bad temper, Ju said with a smile after throwing out a test tube. Of course I know. Orochimaru looked greedily at the blood in the test tube, but he immediately converged. This situation cannot be controlled, the 2 people will not allow it, and it is difficult to restrict the use of this material. For the strong, the necessary courtesy is still necessary. A cold smile appeared on Orochimaru's face. Then he opened the test tube and poured the blood on his hand. Impure World reincarnation, Orochimaru slammed his bloody hand on the ground. Large swaths of scarlet runes spread out from under his hands, and quickly formed a strange scarlet rune array. Put the materials in, Orochimaru said. Ju went forward, took out the scroll, and clicked on it, and a blue chakra like a gel appeared in his hand. Then Ju put the group of chakra in the talisman formation and retreated. It started. Orochimaru's eyes narrowed. Large pieces of debris emerged from the ground and wrapped the chakra, forming a human form. Then it faded quickly. And there is still the chakra inside, and nothing has changed. The scene was silent. Failed? There is a problem with the materials. Damn Kuan Yu, he dared to use fakes to lie to us, Obito gritted his teeth. Obito obviously thinks that Kuan Yu gave them fakes. But Ju shook his head, the fake of yin-yang escape? This is obviously unlikely. But why hasn't it changed? It's just a small problem. I have other sacrifices, Orochimaru stood up and said with a smile. He doesn't care about success, and Kuan Yu's offer is not necessarily fake. After all, such a special thing can't be made casually. It seems that Kuan Yu may have added some other steps, so it is necessary to study it. And this kind of chakra is originally a very good research direction. He can feel the terrifying power contained in it, and it is not as soft as the performance. While Orochimaru was thinking about it, the group of chakra changed. No, it has changed, Ju said in surprise. I saw the blue chakra rapidly swelling, and then it turned into a fuzzy human form. And it was changing rapidly, and it quickly formed a person's appearance, only showing a blue and transparent state. Orochimaru looked at this scene in surprise. But soon, chakra stabilized, and other colors began to appear. Yin and Yang chakra. Obito. What the hell is going on? Said a majestic voice from the population that has not yet been fully presented. His body was still manifesting quickly, and soon it was completely solidified. He became a man in red armor with long, messy black hair. He had a cold face, his long hair covered one eye, and there was a Rinnegan in the other eye. Rinnegan. Orochimaru was surprised. Then he glanced at Obito and Ju next to him. They hadn't told him about this before. We met a strong enemy and had to let you out in advance, Obito said. Really? Uchiha Madara glanced at Orochimaru. Orochimaru also smiled at him. Nice to meet you, I'm Orochimaru. Uchiha Madara glanced at Orochimaru and ignored it. Orochimaru didn't care, but was curious about the Rinnegan in his eyes. Seeing these eyes, he vaguely guessed something. At this moment, Uchiha Madara's body came to Obito's side in an instant, and a hand was pressed on his body. This is. Obito stiffened, and he felt his chakra absorbed again. Although it is a body composed of yin and yang dun, but there is no chakra that can be used in it, and the number of yin and yang dun is not enough, Madara said without any expression. Obito breathed a sigh of relief. Then he slumped to the ground and his chakra was completely drained. Madara retracted her hand and looked at her body. Is the body made of yin and yang escape? It's not bad. It's just a little troublesome to supplement chakra. Of course, this is the material we grabbed from Quan Yu, Orochimaru said with a smile. He also knew the attributes of chakra from Madara's mouth, but he didn't expect that this was actually the legendary yin and yang escape. However, it was used by Madara, and it seems that there is no chance to study it. Quan Yu. Who is he? This kind of thing is not ordinary, Uchiha Madara said lightly. He was resurrected in this situation, thinking that things had changed a little. He is. Ju smiled and explained. That's it, I don't think there is such a rising star, but, Blue Rinnegan, you are sure you read it right, Uchiha Madara said. Absolutely yes, he can even turn on Mangekyo. Obito also slowed down at this moment, gritted his teeth. Interesting, I feel like meeting this junior. What about Nagato? Uchiha Madara asked. Nagato's body was restored by Quan Yu, and even broke the restriction to use the tomb. This is why we call you, Ju said. But the relationship between the two is not friendly. Uchiha Madara was silent for a moment. It seems that a lot of interesting things happened during the time I was away, but this is more interesting. Otherwise it would be too boring. Ha ha ha, Madara laughed. He didn't care whether Nagato's body recovered. I don't know what you were going to do next. I am very curious about your strength. If you need help, I can also provide a lot of power. Orochimaru said with a smile. You will see. Madara glanced at Orochimaru. Prepare me chakra, preferably from the tail beast, Madara ordered. This. Obito made a hard time, and it made him look for it. Why is there a problem? Madara stared at Obito. 10 tails is in Nagato, and the other tail beasts are not easy to get. 1 tail is dead, Obito said helplessly. Oh, Obito, you really let me down, Madara said contemptuously. Madara's words embarrassed Obito. Hee, if Madara-sama needs it, I can provide it, Orochimaru said with a smile. Oh, interesting, it seems Obito you have found a good partner. Madara had a rare smile on her face, only slightly cold. It is my honor to be appreciated by Madara-sama, please come with me, Orochimaru said neither humble nor arrogant. Madara didn't say anything, and followed directly. This body still needs some yin-yang escape and chakra filling to exert its full strength. After that, several people were taken by Orochimaru to a secret room. In the secret room, a huge container was filled with green solution, and the solution was a huge horn. The corner of 8 tails is interesting, Madara said lightly. It turns out that the missing horn of 8 tails is in your hands, said unexpectedly. This is my collection. I had a hard time getting it. Orochimaru smiled. Very well. I will give you a satisfactory reward. Madara stepped forward and pressed her hand on the glass container, only to see a red chakra quickly drawn out and sucked into Madara's body. Are you paid? Haha, I have already gotten it, Orochimaru sneered in his heart. Then his hands concealed in his sleeves shrank, and his hand was the test tube that Ju had given him before. And it's exactly there. Madara's blood. Kuan Yu. Master Mifune informed that the shadows of various villages have gradually come to the country of iron. Bai said to Kuan Yu, who was sitting cross-legged. I see. How is Conan? Kuan Yu asked. Still shut yourself in the room, Bai said. Hey. Kuan Yu sighed. Since Conan woke up, he sat there in a daze, without speaking. Kuan Yu had also been there to see it, but no matter what Kuan Yu said, Conan ignored him. Fortunately, I didn't sneak back, and I don't know what Nagato said to her. Has the news been sent back to Konoha? Kuan Yu continued to ask. Keiko and the others have disappeared, but they still have to explain to the clan. It has been sent back. Keiko has arranged it, and the affairs of the clan are handed over to Uncle Kimura, Bai said. Kuan Yu nodded. Kuan Yu's relationship with Konoha has never been known how to deal with it, so he can only do this first. White, inform Itachi and Sasuke that we have to go down, Kuan Yu said. Kuan Yu, you want to participate in the Five Shadows Conference. Will it cause conflict? Bai said in surprise. Kuan Yu's going down at this time is obviously related to the Five Shadows Conference. They are not so stupid yet. They are targeting me at this time, and our Sky Council can't keep hiding them, Kuan Yu said with a smile. They have always done things in secret, it's time to get in front of others. He now has enough strength to face all troubles. I'll notify you right away, Bai said. Kuan Yu is also worried that this photo session in the villages, if Uchiha Madara has been resurrected, maybe it will be sold in one go. In the fortress of the Iron Kingdom, Tsunade is on the chair by the conference table, behind her are Shizune and Kakashi. Third generation stayed at Konoha and asked her to participate in the Five Shadows Conference. Sitting down, Tsunade looked at Gaara on the opposite side with a little surprise. Gaara was sitting there quietly, behind Kankuro and Tamari. He also noticed Tsunade's gaze and smiled at her. Isn't he dead? Even if Kuan Yu was resurrected by a special method, how could he continue to participate in the Five Shadows Conference as Fengying? Tsunade frowned. She faintly felt that this must have something to do with Kuan Yu. Mikami, we are all here. Why hasn't he come yet? Fourth Raikage said, patting the conference table. He also took two guards, one of whom was a plump female with yellow hair. One is a young man with dark skin and a lazy face. If Kuan Yu can be recognized here, this person is Darui of Master Lightning-style bloodline. I'm sorry. Mifune-sama still has some important things to deal with. Chongzuki, who had been standing by, walked out and said. Is it important? Does this mean we are not important? Onoki said angrily. Don't worry, I heard that Iwagakure was attacked recently. Is it because Master Tsuchikage is in a bad mood? Ha ha ha, Terumi Mei said with a smile. You. Onoki Chikyu. Then he looked at Tsunade who was meditating. Should you Konoha give me an explanation? Onoki said, squinting. Explanation? This has nothing to do with Konoha, Tsunade said lightly while looking at Onoki. It doesn't matter, haha. Those people are all born in Konoha. You dare to say that it has nothing to do with Konoha? As Konoha secretly united with him, Onoki said with dark eyes. Whatever you say, Tsunade said disdainfully. Don't dare to trouble Kuan Yu. What about Konoha's knife? Very beautiful. Tsunade didn't want to bother him. This time I'm here to discuss Akatsuki's problem, not to talk about the shit Sky Council, Fourth Raikage said angrily. Cloud Shinobi Village was attacked and Killer Bee disappeared, making him angry. Master Raikage, pay attention to your words, Gaara said quietly. Words, haha, I heard that you have been taken away twice. What qualifications do you have to sit here? Sanagakure seems to be in decline, Fourth Raikage sneered. If you continue to say that, I don't mind giving you a lesson, Gaara said with squinting eyes. Boy, you are very courageous. Akasuke watched nervously at the tense atmosphere of the battlefield. Why is Lord Mifune not coming, and he will start fighting if he doesn't come again? Terumi Mei, who provoked contradictions, looked at the jokes over there. The relations between the countries are not harmonious, and it is normal to have contradictions. Sorry, sirs, I'm late, Mifune walked in at this moment. Chongzuki breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Fourth Raikage watched Michu enter, and sat down with a cold snort. Since Mifune-sama is here, let's start the meeting. No, I won't chair this meeting, Mifune said with a smile. Everyone frowned, only Gaara seemed to understand. Master Kuan Yu, please come in, Mifune turned sideways in an inviting posture. Kuan Yu. Everyone's expressions were shaken. They certainly knew who Quan Yu was, but why he came here, and Sanchuan's attitude was also unusual. Hello everyone. Quan Yu walked in with a smile. He was followed by Itachi and Sasuke, but they both wore kabuto hats and couldn't see their faces. What's going on, Mifune? Why does he come here? Onoki said with squinting eyes. Because the Iron Kingdom has joined the Sky Council, Master Tsuchikage. Do you have anything else to ask? Quan Yu slowly walked forward. Soon came the theme. What? Everyone's expressions changed. They didn't expect Quan Yu to let the Iron Country join the Sky Council. Quan Yu winked at Gaara, and if he wanted to play, he would play a big one. The Kingdom of Wind has joined the Sky Council. Quan Yu is indeed qualified to preside over the meeting. Gaara understood Quan Yu's meaning and quietly threw a bomb. It turned out to be the country of wind, Mifune also thought in surprise. He only now knew that the big country joining the Sky Council would actually be the country of the wind, but Quan Yu had mentioned it before, and he was not surprised. But other people are different. They can't figure out that the Kingdom of Wind is one of the 5 great countries. Why did they make such an unwise choice? Quan Yu, you were fine, Inomu gritted his teeth. The black soil behind him and the fat ninja who had appeared with her before also looked at Quan Yu in surprise. No way, I also invited Master Tsuchikage, but you don't agree. Quan Yu sat down with a grin. Brother Quan Yu. Why are you so insincere, not inviting us to come in person, or maybe we agree to it too, ha ha ha. Terumi Mei said with a smile after a brief surprise. Yes, I now formally invite you to join. I don't know if Master Mizukage agrees. My conditions are still those. Quan Yu said with a smile. If you are a grown-up or not, just call them my older sister. Terumi Mei covered her mouth and said with a chuckle, but did not reply directly to Quan Yu. The light in her eyes was also constantly flashing, as if she was thinking about something. Ao and Chojuro behind her looked embarrassed. This time I'm here to discuss how to deal with Shao, but I think your Sky Council is more threatening. Fourth Raikage stared at Quan Yu and said. Oh, Lord Raikage, your voice was loud just now. I can't assume that I didn't hear anything. You really think we are so bullied, Quan Yuchu said lightly. What are you doing? Don't think that if you win over the country of iron and the country of wind, you are qualified to sit on an equal footing with us, Fourth Raikage said gloomily. I'm afraid he is really qualified, Tsunade said timely. The Sky Council once blocked Akatsuki with its own strength. What? Everyone was surprised again, but Onoki's expression moved. The battle outside Konoha, he said solemnly. Fourth Raikage's face was cloudy. Being able to block Akatsuki alone means that the power of the Sky Council has not lost Akatsuki. He also knew about the battle outside Konoha, but the reason had not been found out. It turned out that they were fighting Akatsuki. Well, this time I'm here for a meeting. I don't want to make trouble, Quan Yu said with a smile. He still gave Fourth Raikage a step, and being so stiff is no way. Humph, Fourth Raikage sat down with an unhappy face. Although Quan Yu joined, it was easier to deal with Akatsuki's problem. But their Sky Council is already a big trouble. They have grown to the point where they cannot be restricted. In this case, since the Sky Council can confront Akatsuki head-on, then we can help from the side, Onogi said with a smile. It's just that his eyes flashed with cold light. His intention is self-evident, that is, he wants to weaken the Sky Council with the power of no. I agree with this proposal, Fourth Raikage echoed. Tsunade frowned. Terumi Mei smiled quietly. Yes, Quan Yu didn't mind. Quan Yu, Tsunade exclaimed. She didn't expect Quan Yu to agree so. Oyemu sneered at the corner of his mouth, he was still too young. When you gain some strength, you think you are great. However, you have to listen to my arrangements, Quan Yu continued. Why? Fourth Raikage stood up and said. If you don't agree, I can't help it. Our Sky Council is neutral. Since you don't agree, you should continue the meeting, Quan Yu waved his hand and said. Huh. I don't need you to deal with an Akatsuki organization, Fourth Raikage said unwillingly. Tsunade frowned. She didn't know what Quan Yu was thinking. The Akatsuki organization has mastered 5 tail beasts, Raikage-sama. Are you sure we can deal with it? Gaara said lightly. Everyone suddenly changed their expressions. Although all parties are interested in dealing with Shao, the news that their tail beast was taken is still not exposed, but now it is actually broken by Gaara. Especially Rock Shinobi and Cloud Shinobi. How can you know so clearly? Onoki said, squinting. Gaara did not speak, but looked at Quan Yu. This is actually information from a long time ago. If you add 8 tails Jinchuriki, it should be 6, Kuan Yu said. He forgot to ask Nagato about Killer Bee. Reikage's face was cloudy. The 3 tails and 6 tails in our village seem to be in your hands. Can you make a condition? Terumi Mei raised the matter again. Yes, 3 tails is in my hands, and I only have a part of 6 tails. This was snatched from Shao, but I can't hand it over, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Master Mizukage, I should know the significance of my establishment of the Sky Council. We are not forcibly capturing the tail beasts, we are a cooperative relationship with them. Kuan Yu once again promoted the Sky Council. Humph, Terumi Mei snorted dissatisfiedly. Suddenly the meeting fell silent. Don't hide, too. The 4 tails Jinchuriki and 5 tails Jinchuriki in our village have disappeared. It should be Akatsuki, Onoki said aloud. The wooden golem and Killer Bee in our village are gone, 4th Reikage said with an ugly face. That's outside. The tail beast should be 1 tail 7 tails and 9 tails, Terumi Mei said. Faced with Akatsuki's pressure, they began to exchange information. 1 tail is dead, Gaara said softly. Died? Except for Kuan Yu, there is Tsunade on their side, and everyone looks at Gaara. Then why are you still alive? 4th Reikage frowned. Gaara is 1 tail Jinchuriki, and it stands to reason that he cannot live if the tail beast is dead. I am Kuan Yu borrowing Sand Shinobi Village forbidden technique to help me revive, Gaara said lightly. Forbidden technique. Resurrection. These people were suddenly shocked, no wonder the Wind Congress joined the Sky Council. But the matter of resurrection, they looked at Kuan Yu. Don't look at me like that, that forbidden technique is very expensive, I don't want to use it a second time, Kuan Yu said. He would not expose the fact that he would be resurrected, the impact was too great. Then only 7 tails and 9 tails are left, Onoki said with a frown. No, 7 tails is also in Akatsuki's hands, Kuan Yu said. In other words, in addition to Akatsuki, you also have the Sky Council and Konoha in the tail beast. Malice flashed through Onoki's heart. If so, Konoha and the Sky Council would definitely become Akatsuki's main targets. This undoubtedly reduces their pressure, and can also weaken the power of the Sky Council and Konoha. Hehe. If Akatsuki collects all the tail beasts, what will happen? Master Tsuchikage should be very clear. Kuan Yu doesn't need to guess, he knows what Oyeki meant. Everyone was silent. Now is not the time for conflicts. Akatsuki's existence has threatened the safety of ninja. This is not a matter of a village or an organization, Tsunade said. I suggest forming a coalition of ninjas to destroy Akatsuki, Tsunade continued. I'm afraid it's not that simple. If it's me, I don't recommend taking a shot against Shao now, Kuan Yu said. What kind of action? Yu Chiba Madara is here, just a few planetary devastation can kill a lot of people. Everyone was startled. Kuan Yu ignored their shocked eyes, but looked at the ground not far away. After listening for so long, don't you want to come out? Kuan Yu said lightly. Kuan Yu. What do you mean? 4th Reikage frowned. Hehe. I was discovered by you, you are really amazing, Kuan Yu, definitely slowly emerged from the ground. Ju's hiding is indeed very powerful, with no breath at all, and even Byakugan can't find his chakra. However, although Kuan Yu lost his small Tensigan and reduced his vision by half, all he could see was the real scene. That is to say, as long as you stop showing up, you will be discovered by Kuan Yu. Unless he hides deep underground, but that also loses the meaning of sneaking. You are a member of Akatsuki, Tsunade frowned. She had seen this somewhat special person before. Damn bastard, hand over Killer Bee, 4th Reikage was covered by lightning, and rushed to the extremity in an instant. Seeing Akatsuki's appearance, 4th Reikage couldn't help it. Boom, the smoke exploded immediately, waiting for the smoke to dissipate. 4th Reikage stood in the pit with an ugly face, but never disappeared. I said, can you stop being so impulsive? Even if you catch him, you won't be able to find Killer Bee, Kuan Yu said helplessly. Finally, someone who knows how to come out can talk about the conditions. This is great, if you never run away, then you can talk about it. That's right, I'm also curious about where Killer Bee is, and actually fooled us with a clone. Ju popped his head from the ceiling again. Fortunately, he did not leave. What a fast speed, Kuan Yu thought. But it's not surprising that Kaguya's son has no special life-saving ability at this time. 4th Reikage was startled when he heard the words, but he seemed to have thought of something, so he returned to his seat and sat down. You are here to listen for information, then you can listen to me, we will destroy you soon, 4th Reikage said coldly. He knew that the other party dared to come out, so he was not afraid of being caught. Hee hee, we don't care about you yet, Ju laughed twice. Quan Yu. My lord would like to see you and discuss how to deal with the ninja world, Ju Kan Shang Quan Yu said. Dispose of ninja world. It's a big tone, Onogi said angrily. He ignored Onoki and looked at Quan Yu. How about it, do you dare to come? My lord is waiting outside, Ju squinted his eyes and said. It's really here, Quan Yu thought in surprise. What, it's outside? Everyone was startled. Let's go. See you, just to talk about something. Quan Yu's expression remained unchanged. With Madara's personality, it is indeed possible to show up directly. This is a very straightforward person. Hee hee. I really want to meet the leader of Akatsuki, Onogi said with a sneer. He didn't believe that so many people couldn't win such a leader of Akatsuki's organization. It may not be as simple as you think, Gaara stood up and said. He had already guessed something. Interesting, dare to come here directly, Terumi Mei smiled. I will make him pay. Fourth Raikage's eyes flashed with anger. Shaking his head, these people still don't know who they are going to face. His body sank to the ceiling, and then there was a good show to watch. Everyone came outside the fortress with different thoughts. There was still snow outside, but it was not as big as when Quan Yu first came. But a thick layer of white snow has also accumulated on the ground, and the whole world is a vast expanse of whiteness. Where is the person? Isn't he afraid to come out? Onoki said. Over there. I think you would be surprised to see him, Quan Yu said with a smile pointing in one direction. Everyone frowned and looked towards Quan Yu's direction. There seemed to be a dark shadow faintly there, but it was too far to see clearly. But as the figure walked in, his face became clearer and clearer. This is. Onoki took 2 steps back. This figure has always been his nightmare. Who is this? Everyone thought in confusion, and they knew how easy it was to look at Oyumu's expression. Not the one who attacked Cloud Shinobi before, Fourth Raikage said, squinting. As the figure walked in, everyone finally saw each other's face clearly. This is Uchiha Madara. Tsunade gritted his teeth. Tsunade has a clear memory of the other person's image. Isn't he dead? Isn't he a fake? Fourth Raikage said gloomily. No, it's definitely not a fake. This momentum, this chakra volume. The sweat on the green forehead behind Terumi Mei kept streaming down. Obviously he felt something. Ching, what did you perceive? Terumi Mei frowned and asked. One of Ching's eyes was full of shock. Yes, he is Uchiha Madara. I think you should know Impure World Reincarnation, Quan Yu said. Impure World Reincarnation? They actually resurrected Uchiha Madara. Don't they know the consequences of doing so? Tsunade said angrily. Quan Yu smiled. Itachi, Sasuke, are you interested in trying it? This is a rare opportunity, Quan Yu said with a smile. I want to see it, Itachi said, taking off Kabuto's hat. I can't ask for it. Sasuke also took off the Kabuto cap, his eyes sparkling with excitement. A legendary character from the Uchiha clan. How could he not want to see it? Quan Yu, you want to let them go, Tsunade said in surprise. Always let you see what kind of strength Madara can exert now, Quan Yu said. He can feel the familiar taste of Madara, and it seems that he has not yet fully resurrected Rinnegan. Itachi and Sasuke looked at each other and rushed out instantly. Then he kept jumping on the snow, approaching Madara who was slowly walking over. Why don't you go together? Black Earth asked puzzledly. Because it's useless. Impure World Reincarnation cannot be killed because he is already dead. Quan Yu blinked at the black soil. Onoki hurriedly stopped in front of the black soil. He always suspected that Quan Yu had a purpose for his granddaughter. At the same time, Madara's appearance made him feel heavy. He knew what a terrible man this was. It's just right. Let Quan Yu's men try it first. If it doesn't work, they will go together. Even immune to death can be sealed, Terumi Mei thought. As their minds were constantly changing, Itachi and Sasuke were getting close. Sasuke, this time the opponent is extraordinary, be careful, Itachi said. Got it, Sasuke nodded. Of course he knows how good his opponent is, but he doesn't necessarily lose if he adds Itachi. Sasuke didn't know that Madara had Rinnegan, but there was a spring on top, so there was nothing to worry about. Oh, 2 descendants of the Uchiha clan. Madara stopped. The wind and snow kept blowing on the red armor, and also blowing his messy long hair, but there was no snowflake on his body. It seemed that the world was resisting this man. Between his black hair, a 3-tomo Sharingan appeared. He didn't expose Rinnegan now. Sasuke, Itachi snorted. Suddenly, Itachi and Sasuke directly turned on Mangekyo. Faced with such an enemy, it is impossible not to use all their strength. They are still quite good juniors, and there is actually a pair of eternal Mangekyo, Uchiha Madara said with interest. I heard that you are also eternal Mangekyo. I would love to see it, Sasuke said with a smirk. Hehe. I like the look in your eyes. You will see it, Quan Yu. Why doesn't he come? Quan Yu wants us to try. Are you worth his shot? Itachi looked at Madara and said. If Quan Yu was here, he would definitely give Itachi a compliment and give him another wave. Unexpectedly, the Uchiha clan would become someone else's subordinates. Madara shook her head. Come on. Let me see your power. Madara squatted abruptly, and the snow under her feet suddenly exploded. Madara's figure disappeared suddenly. Quickly, Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Suddenly the pheasant sword came out of its sheath. It's too slow. Madara approached Sasuke in an instant. Sasuke could see Madara's movements, but his body obviously couldn't keep up. Bang! Madara hit Sasuke's chest and abdomen with a punch, making Sasuke's eyes rounded directly. But this is not over yet. Madara grabbed Sasuke's hand holding the pheasant sword, and then attacked Sasuke again with one hand, and Sasuke snorted again. But he can't get away from Madara, and if he resists, he will be directly disrupted by Madara. Suddenly Madara's eyes swept aside slightly. Several cracking sounds sounded. Madara instantly grabbed Sasuke's hand holding the pheasant sword and blocked the flying kunai. But a figure also approached his body. Bang! Madara's fist was caught by Itachi. But Itachi directly twisted his body, and Fei body kicked Madara's head. Madara frowned slightly. He had no hands to use now. Suddenly he grasped Sasuke's hand hard, and Sasuke's body was moved and smashed directly at Itachi. Bang! Suddenly, Itachi and Sasuke were thrown out, splashing a lot of snow. Do you have this strength? It's too weak, Madara said lightly. Damn, physique has been crushed, Sasuke stood up and said. This is not surprising. Uchiha Madara has experienced countless battles in his lifetime, and the combat experience is much higher than ours. Itachi also stood up and said. Use Amaterasu, Itachi said. Sasuke nodded. Suddenly the two of them focused on half of their bodies, their eyes shrank, and blood was bleeding from the corners of Sasuke's eyes. Madara immediately noticed the danger and moved quickly. A large group of black flames appeared in the place where Madara had just settled. The two of them use Amaterasu at the same time, and the coverage is quite large, but Madara's movement speed is also very fast. It's not so easy to escape. Sasuke's right eye suddenly moved, and flame control started. Hyen's movement speed suddenly became faster. Hyen's movement speed is fast, but Uchiha Madara's speed is not slow. Along the way, snowflakes continued to splash under Madara's feet. But as soon as he encountered black flame, it evaporated and disappeared. Madara glanced back slightly, and Sharingan spun quickly, turning into a strange pattern. Facing Amaterasu, Madara also opened Mangekyo. A blue chakra suddenly appeared on his body, and a sternum suddenly formed. A skeletal arm suddenly stretched out and swept the ground behind him, and suddenly a layer of snow mixed with mud splashed. He actually blocked Hei Yan like that. At the same time Madara was also surrounded by slush splashing, and she couldn't see her figure. Be careful, Itachi reminded. Fire style, extinguish the fire. Madara's figure leapt high, and suddenly a large flame burst out of his mouth, and instantly hit Itachi and Sasuke. Not good, Itachi immediately stood in front of Sasuke. Then the two were drowned in flames in an instant. Uchiha Madara fell, but the flames in his mouth kept surging. The fierce flames immediately enveloped the large area where Itachi and them were. The surrounding snow melted instantly, or even directly turned into water vapor, and disappeared as soon as it was scorched by the flames. What a horrible fire-style ninjutsu, Terumi Mei said in surprise. Hehe. What do you know? This is just a normal ninjutsu of his, Onomiu said disdainfully. You don't even know how strong he is. Onoki's eyes were very solemn. So awesome, Darui said in surprise, who had been standing behind fourth Raikage. As a young ninja, you didn't know that Uchiha Madara's deeds were normal, a person who frightened an age at that time, Onoki said. That's right, he hasn't gotten serious yet, Quan Yu said with a smile. You don't worry about your two subordinates, Terumi Mei said. They are not so easy to lose, Quan Yu said with a smile. The flame gradually stopped, exposing the land that was burned by the flames and felt a little red. green smoke was constantly lingering. An orange-red skeletal giant was appearing there holding a shield. Inside, it was Itachi and Sasuke. What a horrible fire style, Sasuke said solemnly. Be careful next, Itachi's Susanoo disappeared. Got it. Sasuke didn't dare to be careless anymore. The strength of this person in front of him is absolutely terrifying. Sasuke jumped away, and a purple chakra emerged from him. The third stage of Susanoo started in an instant. The purple chakra arrow hit the crossbow immediately, aiming at Madara who was standing on the opposite side. But Itachi directly started the fourth stage. The warrior like Susanoo stood there holding a flame sword and shield. Madara was also slightly surprised. To start Susanoo at this level with ordinary Mangekyo requires a considerable talent. He looked at the flame sword. Is this the 10-fist sword that Ju said? He must be careful with this sword. Once it is sealed, it will be troublesome. I'm here to attack. Itachi rushed out in an instant. Sasuke's chakra arrow was shot out immediately, and then the bowstring was pulled again to form another chakra arrow. On the opposite side, Madara also turned on Susanoo in the first form. A skeletal arm suddenly appeared, and actually grabbed the chakra arrow directly, and then shot it back at the rushing ferret. But it was immediately blocked by Itachi's shield. The ability to control Susanoo is also quite powerful. Itachi looked solemn. But he rushed up quickly. The blue chakra on Madara also ignited violently, and a tall Susanoo who looked like a demon god appeared. But it seems that it is not as good as Sasuke's. The state of the bones can be seen inside Susanoo. This is only the second form. 2 chakra swords appeared in its hands, and they slashed at the Itachi. Itachi doesn't think Madara's Susanoo is inferior to him, even though it is 2 forms. This can only show that he is saving consumption. This is a habit that will be formed in long-term battles, and let him use every point of his power as much as possible. Susanoo of Itachi raised the shield, and Madara's chakra sword slashed on it. I admire you, join me, I will lead Uchiha to glory, Madara said with a smile. I don't think that a person like you can bring any benefit to the world, Itachi said lightly. Then Quan Yu can. Throughout his experience, he is just a coward, Madara said with disdain. But he has his persistence, he has his goals, and he has made considerable efforts for this. Although he is immature, such a person is more worthy of trust, Itachi said. Itachi has also seen Quan Yu's various cultivation practices, and he has not given up his persistence because of the powerful strength he has gained. Instead, he polished his foundation over and over again, which is enough to prove how strong Quan Yu's heart is. He did not act recklessly because he gained power, and he did things with his own rules. If he could not even kill people, he would try his best to adopt peaceful means, otherwise he would have already included the current 5 major countries. Even Rinnegan will fall into his hands, but he didn't choose to do this. Even the tail beasts he tried his best to give them freedom, and he didn't restrain them. Such a person is worthy of his belief. It seems that you were brainwashed by him, and I must correct it. Madara's eyes were cold. 2 skeleton arms appeared on the back of his Susanoo again, holding 2 chakra swords, and then another sword flew the chakra arrow shot by Sasuke. This world needs the baptism of blood. 2 more chakra swords slashed towards Itachi. Itachi could only raise his own flame sword to block it, but the power from above couldn't help but stop him, and the flame sword was also pressed back. Itachi's pupils shrank. He did not expect Madara to use this form of Susanoo to exert such power. I come, Sasuke opens Susanoo's 4th form, and long-range attacks are useless to Madara. Seeing Itachi was suppressed, Sasuke also rushed over. A chakra sword immediately slashed towards Madara. Madara took advantage of Itachi's Susanoo and retreated, avoiding Sasuke's attack. But Itachi was no longer suppressed. Let's go together. I don't believe that his state can resist the attack of the 2 of us, Sasuke said. This is the only enemy he has seen in his life except for Quan Yu's pervert. It was not that he had never tried Quan Yu, but he was often bounced off in an instant, and he couldn't force his full strength at all. Such an opponent excites him. Itachi and Sasuke rushed out in an instant, and then attacked frantically around Madara. The earth is constantly breaking up, and although Sasuke and Itachi have cooperated very well, there is still nothing to do with Madara. As this Uchiha's power, Terumi Mei was shocked. Although she had seen Itachi and Sasuke use Susanoo, she did not expect them to show such strength. How should I put it? You still underestimate them. Just like I said, the times are different, you can't look at the world with the previous eyes, Quan Yu said while looking at the court. Everyone frowned. Just his subordinates are so strong, then as their leader, what is the strength of Kuan Yu? This can't help but make their hearts heavy. Maybe it's time to consider the conditions that Kuan Yu proposed, Terumi Mei couldn't help thinking. Oh, if you only have this level, then this boring farce should end, Madara said with her arms folded. Although you are good enough, in my eyes you still don't see enough. Madara's eyes shook suddenly. Susanoo pulled up quickly and actually showed his legs. Then he jumped high and escaped from the surrounding of Itachi and Sasuke. Madara is suspended in Susanoo, but this Susanoo is taller, but instead of the previous bloat, it has become slender. It seems more flexible. This is indeed the case. After Madara's Susanoo landed, the huge Susanoo rushed out instantly, much faster than before. Susanoo came to Sasuke in an instant, with only one chakra sword left in his hand that slashed against Sasuke. Sasuke and his Susanoo were slashed out in an instant, and then he backhanded against Itachi's Susanoo with a sword. But it was blocked by Itachi's shield, but that was the case, the power contained in it couldn't help but make Itachi glide backward for a certain distance. After Sasuke landed, the huge Susanoo splashed a lot of snow and mud. In the end even Sasuke couldn't control Susanoo anymore, and then his body rolled out, leaving a long gully in the snow. Only then slowly stopped. Sasuke got up hard. This is too fast. Well, haven't you shown your true strength? This might make me a little bit interested. Madara did not continue to attack. As you wish, Itachi's body rose quickly, and his Susanoo kept swelling. Then he became as tall as Madara's Susanoo, but Itachi's Susanoo is stronger than Madara's, and seems to be more powerful, and his body is also wrapped in the original armor. However, Madara's is more rudimentary, just a pair of legs more than before, and there are not many changes. Interesting. A pair of ordinary Mangekyo can turn on Susanoo to such a degree, even I have to admit that you are a genius, Madara said. But you are on the wrong path, let me correct it. Madara rushed out instantly. Then a fierce airwave erupted from the chakra sword that the two confronted each other. Sasuke, who was not too far away, was also blown by the airwave, a little unable to open his eyes, and couldn't help covering his eyes with his hands. What kind of power is this? Mifune couldn't help but exclaimed. Everyone is silent, so powerful, I am afraid that these three people have the ability to completely destroy the ninja world. Fortunately, there are two people from Kuan Yu's side, but Kuan Yu's purpose. Ha ha ha, it's been a long time since I was so happy, the last time I was fighting Hashirama, Madara said with a laugh. Then his Susanoo began to move quickly. Not to be outdone, Itachi also moved, although his speed was significantly worse. But he has an 8-foot mirror, so Madara will not attack Susanoo's body. The two constantly collided, and waves of air continued to explode. There was no trace of snow under their feet, it was all black mud underneath. And it's still being destroyed. Sasuke watched the battle between the two from a distance, but he still couldn't participate. Itachi fiercely separated the opponent's chakra sword, and Madara couldn't help but step back for a certain distance. But the flame sword in Itachi's hand disappeared, and 3 Gyuyu suddenly formed. 8 Chichong Gyuyu, the 3 Goias shot at Madara's Susanoo, but now Madara has just stabilized his body. He only has to raise Susanoo's arms and prepare to resist this move. Boom, there was a violent explosion there, and the smoke immediately spread, covering Madara's Susanoo. While Itachi held the shield, the flame sword in his hand reappeared, and then quickly rushed there. The flame sword pierced into the smoke without hesitation. That's right, Itachi is going to take this opportunity to seal Madara directly with the power of the 10-fist sword. Kuan Yu's eyes also narrowed. If Itachi can do it, it will undoubtedly save a lot of trouble. But will it really be as they thought? Will Madara be sealed by them so easily? Itachi's body stopped there, and the flame sword reached into the smoke. Everyone is watching this scene. The smoke slowly dissipated, and the scene inside made Itachi frown. His flame sword was caught by one arm. Even Itachi didn't expect Madara to notice the attack behind him with this level of attack, as well as accurately grasp the flame sword. Want to seal me? You juniors are really rebellious. Madara's Susanoo is still in its previous form, but it seems that there has been some change. The bones in the body disappeared, and the entire Susanoo seemed to have formed a solid structure, with distinct muscles, as if possessing powerful strength. Itachi pulls the flame sword, trying to cut off the opponent's hand, but no matter how he pulls it, the opponent's hand is like an iron hoop, holding the flame sword tightly, unaffected at all. It's time for you to see the true power. Madara pulled the flame sword, then punched the 8-foot mirror that Itachi was blocking in front of her. The chakra sword formed immediately, and the sword pierced Susanoo of Itachi, and even the body of Itachi was directly penetrated by the huge chakra sword. What? Everyone was surprised. Obviously, there was still a head-to-head fight before, but in a blink of an eye, Itachi was directly killed in this way. However, it is not bad to consume part of Quan Yu's power. Everyone looked at Quan Yu, but Quan Yu didn't have any expressions, as if it was none of his business. This could not help but froze them. This has changed again in the field. You're looking for death. Sasuke's eyes were cracked. Although he knew Itachi was no longer a living person, but the scene before him stung his nerves. The violent purple chakra exploded. Sasuke's Susanoo drove straight to the 4th position, but this is not the end. Sasuke lowered his head, his body began to levitate, and his Susanoo seemed to have been stimulated, expanding rapidly. The feet are also rapidly manifesting, transforming into the same form as Itachi. Oh, Susanoo was stimulated to start the next stage. Madara glanced over there. The body of the ferret pierced by the chakra sword was fixed and could no longer sustain Susanoo. His Susanoo disappeared immediately. Madara glanced at Itachi, flicking the chakra sword directly, and tossed Itachi fiercely. The ferret was thrown into the distance, splashing a lot of smoke. I want you to die. Sasuke was violent when he saw this scene. Susanoo squatted directly and jumped directly into the sky. A huge chakra sword also appeared in his hand and slashed at Madara fiercely. Sure enough, it's on the hook, so it's improved. Why is this embarrassing? Quan Yu muttered to himself. Tsunade was taken aback. Quan Yu, what are you talking about? Oh, nothing, just thinking. I'm almost on the court, Quan Yu said with a smile. Everyone was stunned, and they could still laugh like this. Although they thought that Quan Yu was very strong, it should be very difficult to deal with such a person. And his men are dead. Madara looked at Sasuke coming in the air. Susanoo turned slightly to his side, and escaped the sword. The falling Sasuke also splashed a lot of smoke, but soon a chakra sword broke through the smoke and cut across Madara's Susanoo. The action is completely different. That's how it is it straight to Sharingan? This kind of power is only now being used. Madara looked at Sasuke's Sharingan. The long sword in Madara Susanoo's hand immediately blocked it. But the power above made Madara frown. This power seemed to be much weaker. But in an instant, Sasuke's chakra sword disappeared, passing directly through Madara's chakra sword and slashing towards Madara's Susanoo. This is swordsmanship. Madara was also slightly surprised. Oh, I used Susanoo to use my swordsmanship. It's amazing, Quan Yu said in surprise. Although this is a sword technique created by Quan Yu a long time ago, this sword technique can be continuously strengthened according to the user's strength. It is very suitable to use at that level. And Madara also sat out of Sasuke's previous choice and cut directly to Sasuke Susanoo's head with the chakra sword. He had no reason to let go of such an obvious flaw. But the attack on the body was just a cover-up. Sasuke's chakra sword immediately blocked the sword with defense, and then quickly pulled, directly slamming Madara's chakra sword. Then the blade turned and slashed fiercely towards Madara, who opened the empty door. Madara's eyes shrank slightly. Do you think that's all right? Swordsmanship is worthless in my eyes, Madara sneered. An arm suddenly rushed out from behind Madara and hit Sasuke Susanoo's hand directly. The hand that made him hold the knife was just a beat. Then another arm stretched out, and a chakra sword was formed, which was a stab at Sasuke and Susanoo. Soon Sasuke will turn into the same ending as Itachi. Sasuke's eyes vibrated. Even Quan Yu moved slightly, but soon he stopped again. 8 Chichong Guyu. The 3 swiftly spinning Go-Yu Jade cut into the middle of Madara and Sasuke and hit Madara's chakra sword. Suddenly it exploded fiercely. In the smoke, Madara and Sasuke's Susanoo separated and slid a distance on the ground. I saw Itachi's Susanoo had been turned on again, and he jumped directly to Sasuke's side. Sasuke, doing a great job, Itachi smiled on his face. Sasuke was praised by Itachi and smiled. But in a blink of an eye, his gaze became serious, and then he looked at Madara on the opposite side. Hehe, is it the same body as me? No wonder you can use a pair of ordinary Mangekyo to turn on this form of Susanoo. Madara looked at the opposite Itachi and said. Everyone watching the battle was surprised. Wasn't this person killed just now? Why is it unscathed now? Itachi also frowned. He was not unscathed just now. Chakra was wiped out for a large part by the opponent, but this body has enough chakra reserves to support it for a while. All they have to do is to help Quan Yu consume Madara's chakra as much as possible. Sasuke, Fight with all your strength, and then hand it over to Quan Yu, Itachi said. Clear, Sasuke nodded. He knew that the person before Byakugan was not something they could deal with, and the other person had hidden stronger powers. The two rushed out in an instant, their bodies constantly exchanging. Then when he was about to approach Madara, he made a dislocation and attacked directly from both sides of Madara. Madara's eyes kept moving left and right. In this state, he must also be serious about the joint attack by Itachi and Sasuke. His Susanoo has 2 arms on the left and right to block the attack of the two. But Sasuke and Itachi swept one leg at the same time and kicked Madara Susanoo directly in the abdomen. Suddenly Madara was repelled, but the attack was not over yet. Sasuke waved directly at Madara, who was still unstable, but was blocked by Madara. Just as he was about to fight back, a long sword of flame stabbed again. Madara was forced to evade again, but after evading, he was kicked by Sasuke again. Sasuke and Itachi cooperated and suppressed Madara in a blink of an eye. Suppressed. Fourth Raikage said in surprise. No, it's over, Quan Yu said. Everyone was startled, and some did not understand Quan Yu's meaning. Bang! Madara was repelled a little, and he frowned as he looked at Itachi and Sasuke who were rushing over. Then his Susanoo got up and jumped and fell straight into the distance. Don't want to run away. Sasuke moved quickly over there. But what he didn't expect was that Madara directly disarmed Susanoo and fell to the ground. This is. Sasuke was taken aback. Even the people watching the battle were taken aback. Is this going to die? Only Quan Yu's expression moved slightly, and his body floated slightly. It's time for you to see my true power. Madara closed her eyes. Sasuke, be careful, Itachi shouted loudly. But with the opportunity in front of him, how could Sasuke give up and hit Madara with a sword? Seeing that the huge chakra sword was about to smash Madara's body, Sasuke also smiled at the corner of his mouth. No matter what you are preparing, you will die at this distance. It seems that Quan Yu is not in his turn to play. But at this moment, Madara's eyes opened suddenly. The surroundings seemed to freeze suddenly, and everything was still. Even the snow froze in the air. Madara looked up at Sasuke on the opposite side, sneered. Her long hair danced slightly, and a pair of Rinnegan appeared in his eyes. Shen Luo Tianzhong, the frozen picture began to move again. Only. Boom! Large swaths of smoke suddenly splashed, and a terrifying wave of air erupted directly from that location. What is this? The spectators were also shocked. A large amount of smoke and dust mixed with the strong wind, as constantly attacking them, so that they can only cover their eyes with their hands. At the same time, use chakra to fix the body, otherwise it is likely to be blown away directly. What they didn't notice was that Quan Yu, who was still standing there just now, had disappeared. Ahem, Sasuke climbed up hard and looked at the ground covered in smoke, his face a little ugly. This didn't work, and the eyes that Madara showed at the end made his brows frown deeply. Rinnegan. How could he have Rinnegan? Sasuke's eyes flashed shock. He couldn't be more familiar with the move used by the other party, and Quan Yu would also use this move. Our battle is over, give it to Quan Yu, Itachi said as he walked out of the smoke. Sasuke nodded. Although he didn't like Quan Yu very much, he still had to say that now only Quan Yu can deal with this enemy. Da da da. There was a sound of footsteps, and Madara, who was surrounded by smoke, frowned. You finally figured it out, don't continue watching the show, Madara said lightly. It is definitely not easy for Quan Yu to be able to make people like Sasuke and Itachi willing to be his subordinates. No way, you are not in this state that they can handle. The smoke slowly dissipated, and Quan Yu's body was revealed. Oh, then you think you are my opponent, Madara sneered. No, I'm a bit worse now, Quan Yu said with a smile. The smoke and dust finally dispersed slowly, and Sasuke and Itachi also came to everyone. But everyone didn't pay attention to them at all, but looked at the big pit that suddenly appeared in front of them in disbelief. In the center of Daking, the smoke and dust slowly dissipated, where Madara and Quan Yu stood opposite each other. You are very confident, you are a bit worse than me if you dare to say it, Madara looked at Quan Yu and said. Of course, this is the result of my evaluation for a long time, Quan Yu said. That said, you know my full strength, Madara said with squinting eyes. I don't know this, I just have enough confidence, you. Quan Yu pointed to Madara. Can't kill me, Madara's eyes narrowed. Ha ha ha, you are really interesting, Quan Yu. I can give you a chance, join me, we can be the gods of this world, Madara said with a laugh. No, Quan Yu, don't listen to him, Tsunade shouted. If Madara and Quan Yu cooperate, then they will have no resistance at all. The corner of Sasuke's mouth twitched. Quan Yu would have done it long ago if he wanted to conquer the world, so why wait until now? Even Gaara's expression did not change in any way. They know what Quan Yu is like. Oh, it seems they are nervous. As long as you move your mind and kill those people, the world will be up to us. I believe you can do it. Madara looked at Quan Yu and said. Everyone looked startled, and immediately took 2 steps back. Be wary of Itachi and Sasuke beside him, but the two didn't care at all. If I wanted to do this kind of thing, I would have done it long ago. Quan Yu smiled. So, you disagree? Madara's eyes narrowed. I know your purpose. Do you think I will agree to it? Quan Yu slowly withdrew Zanfeng from his waist. A big battle. If you need to add chakra, please. Interesting, but my chakra is enough. Madara stretched out her hand. A figure suddenly emerged from the ground and threw a fan-like weapon to Madara. Madara changed hands and caught it. Obito, who sent the weapon, sucked himself into the space again. Let me try your weight. Madara waved the Uchiha ball fan in her hand twice. I would also like to see the strength of your legendary legend. Quan Yu lifted Zhangfeng, and a burst of chakra immediately covered the knife. Then see how you dance in front of me, as you wish. A layer of activation, the breath of water. Circulation, Quan Yu sipped. His figure suddenly rushed out, but left a stream of water in the air. Water chakra, Madara frowned. He raised the group fan to block Quan Yu, who appeared in front of him instantly. Ding, the strength is not weak, Madara said lightly. Yes, Quan Yu smiled slightly, and the water he had left in the air instantly turned into a water dragon, bypassing the fan, and rushing towards Madara. You just want to beat me with this little trick, Madara said. It's not that simple. Quan Yu narrowed his eyes. Suddenly the water on the water dragon agitated, as if it was flowing fast, even the body became thinner. Looking at this type of water flow, Madara finally understood something. He who fought against Senju Tobirama, of course, knows that this type of water flow will have a very strong cutting ability. Suddenly Tuan Fan supported Quan Yu's cutting wind and quickly retreated. I escaped the water dragon, but as soon as the water dragon turned, he rushed forward again. Madara frowned, and Tuan Fan suddenly patted on the water dragon. The harsh rubbing sound suddenly sounded, showing how strong this cutting ability is. But even so, Madara was beaten up all at once. Quan Yu's attack followed immediately. Madara dodged quickly, and Quan Yu's blade swung a large amount of water around them, but did not hit Madara's body. But looking at the water around him, Madara had a bad feeling. At this moment, Quan Yu withdrew slightly, pulling Zanfeng in his hand. Water kill. The currents surrounding Madara suddenly turned into thin water blades, quickly attacking Madara in the center. Madara sneered slightly. Uchiha whirlwind. Madara supported the ball fan with both hands, and her body spun quickly, and then she bumped into the water blade ahead of time. The water blade there was directly scattered, and then he hit another place. Madara was like a dancing butterfly in it, and almost instantly smashed all the water blades away. The second floor is activated, the breath of the earth. As soon as Quan Yu's body squatted, the ground suddenly shattered. Bang! Quan Yu's figure disappeared immediately. Quan Yu's ferocious blow was directly slashed on the ball fan. Although Quan Yu's speed was very fast, she could not escape Madara's eyes. But his body was still pushed back a little by Quan Yu. Interestingly, a body-strengthening secret technique similar to the 8 inner gates type has added attributes, Madara said, feeling the power coming from her hand. I created it by myself. I hope Madara-sama will give me some advice, Quan Yu said with a smile. Oh, but these are not enough to see, yes. 3-layer activation. Quan Yu directly opened the 3-layer activation. With the help of the power brought by the soil properties. With a full swing, Quan Yu immediately forced Madara back. Breath of wind. Quan Yu changed attributes again. A gust of wind blew up his body and disappeared instantly. With 30% activation and wind attribute bonus, Quan Yu's speed has almost reached ultimate. So fast, even Madara was surprised. Ding ding ding. Madara kept blocking Quan Yu's attack, even though Quan Yu's speed was very fast, even directly pulling out the afterimage. It seems that the 4 springs are constantly attacking Madara. But he still didn't escape Madara's eyes and was blocked by him. Fast speed, but almost power, then changed to another one. Quan Yu's voice came. Ding. Quan Yu's Zhangfeng cut on the group fan and made a long cry, but this time Quan Yu did not continue to move. But with a twist of both hands, the blade shook in an instant. Hum. A strange knife sounded. This made Madara instantly feel the danger, and then jumped directly to the side. But the long hair that floated was still cut off a few strands, and a long crack appeared on the ground instantly, extending far away. It was as if the place where he was standing was cut by an invisible sharp blade. Sword chi. No. Just use a similar method to stimulate sword aura, using chakra with the wind attribute. Madara touched her hair and said. The hair that was chopped off also floated back to Madara's body. That's right. But it won't be the next thing. Quan Yu retracted the sword and squatted. But his eyes were fixed on Madara. This situation made Madara's eyes narrowed, and he felt locked in. And this feeling will only appear when facing a master of swordsmanship, but how old is he? What he didn't know was that Quan Yu was unable to improve his strength due to physical limitations in the earliest days, so he put a lot of effort into swordsmanship. Coupled with the assistance of Shadow Clone, Quan Yu made rapid progress in swordsmanship during that time. Although I haven't used swordsmanship to fight for a while, the things carved in my bones won't change. 4th floor is activated, open. 5th floor is activated, open. Quan Yu suddenly drank. The chakra he had been suppressing finally broke out, and the soaring chakra exploded directly. It didn't take long for Quan Yu to activate the 4th floor. Why did he reach the 5th floor activation so quickly? Sasuke said in surprise. It's his space. Gu Quan Yu said he can change the gravity there, Gaara said. Here, only Gaara had entered Quan Yu's space. He asked curiously, and Quan Yu also explained to him the role of this space. Gravity? But it can't be so fast. I remember Quan Yu said that this kind of training becomes more difficult as you go back, Sasuke said. Maybe Quan Yu used another method, Gaara said. No one else came close to them. In the face of such threatening two people, they still tried to stay away as far as possible, so no one heard their conversation. Full activation of the body brings more chakra, but to what extent can you use these chakras? Madara said with interest. I will let you know. Shaping, Quan Yu sipped. With so many chakras, it is not easy for Quan Yu to be a master, but he has other methods. I saw the chakra on Quan Yu disappeared. Disappeared? No, he actually suppressed everything back, so terrible control ability. Even Madara had to be shocked by this situation. With the help of shaping power, Quan Yu's control over chakra is greatly increased. But the strengthening is far from over. The breath of the wind. An edge burst directly from Quan Yu's body, as if forming an invisible sword energy that directly attacked Madara. But this is not lethal, it just makes Madara's hair fly, revealing Rinnegan hidden under the hair. But Madara knew that the opponent's next attack would be shocking. And now it's not that he doesn't want to make a move, but that he is already locked. Once he moves, Quan Yu's attack will come instantly. But Madara still let Quan Yu continue to gain momentum. He wants to see how far Quan Yu can play. The breath of the wind, one line is extremely cut. Quan Yu's hands seemed to withdraw Zhangfeng slowly and quickly, but there was no sound. But the knives that shook the sky immediately rang, and even echoed in the vast sky. Quan Yu maintained this posture of drawing the sword, but nothing seemed to happen. Madara still stood there intact, but her expression was a little wrong. After a while, it's a pity, Madara shook her head. It's really a pity. Quan Yu stood up. Everyone was taken aback. What's going on? Sasuke said puzzledly. Quan Yu just now clearly wanted to amplify his moves, but now it seems that there is nothing. If I guessed correctly, Madara has been beheaded. Itachi looked away. Then why? Sasuke wanted to say something else. At this moment, a cliff far behind Madara started to slide down. There is a flat incision, and if you look closely at the ground, you may see a very thin line extending from Madara. This is the real sword aura. Quan Yu actually did it, Mifune said blankly. It is possible to achieve this by compressing all the power to one sword. This is not a power you should have, you have used other powers, Madara said with squinting eyes. If Quan Yu can do this on his own, then Madara is definitely not an opponent in physical skills. Yes, I use the power of my eyes to achieve such control, but even so, this is not the ultimate of swordsmanship. I almost have something, Quan Yu Game said disappointedly. Madara was not beheaded because he was already dead. However, Quan Yu's attack was too concentrated, one line, which shows that his sword aura is really free and one line is so thick. This attack directly penetrated Madara's body, but Madara's body was a reincarnation, and he recovered in an instant, at most losing only a small amount of chakra. That's why he said that it was a pity that if he were alive, he would not dare to take the sword like Quan Yu just now. You are talented, but the warm-up is over, Madara said. Warm-up? He calls this a warm-up, Hei-tu said in surprise. How to put it? Although I am also surprised, this should be just a warm-up, Sasuke said with a wicked smile. Then he glanced at the 5 shadows with ugly faces next to him. The strength that Quan Yu and Madara showed at the beginning was barely acceptable, but Quan Yu's move directly pushed the next battle into the unknown. They can't imagine what the next stand fight will be like. Yes, the warm-up is over. A pair of blue Sharingan appeared in Quan Yu's eyes, and then slowly turned into Mangekyo. In fact, I expect the kind of power just now more, but there is too little time left for me. Although it is the first time I have seen Sharingan in blue, your abilities are definitely more than that. Madara felt Quan Yu's pupil power change. He still hides. For this, I keep chasing in my own way, but the strongest power I get is the eyes that I got by accident. Quan Yu ignored Madara and said to himself. Accident. Madara was slightly puzzled, but if it weren't for an accident, Sharingan would not have turned blue. You have made me more interested. I heard that you call yourself Senju. Then I will recognize you as Uchiha Madara today. Senju, Madara has just finished saying. Why don't you have to admit my name? Quan Yu's eyes suddenly lit up, and a bright cross appeared in his eyes, with a blue halo at the center. These eyes. Everyone was startled. They can feel the unmatched pressure from these eyes, which is a kind of spiritual suppression. Interesting. Haha, interesting. I didn't expect to have eyes of the same level as Rinnegan. Quan Yu, you really are qualified to be my opponent, Madara laughed. He could feel that Quan Yu's powerful pupil power was not lost to him at all. But he didn't care how strong Quan Yu was. What he enjoyed more was fighting the strong. Moreover, Quan Yu was so young that he almost possessed the power of his peak period. How could this not make him excited? In the distance, Obito and Zetsu are also looking here. Damn, he still hides his strength. Obito gritted his teeth. Zhu Jie looked at Quan Yu's eyes in shock. There are actually such eyes. I'm very curious about how you evolved. I paid a considerable price for these eyes, Madara said. In order to start Rinnegan, he transplanted Hashirama cells to accumulate the power of all phenomena, but it took almost a lifetime. Rinnegan was turned on when he was about to die. And Quan Yu is still so young, even Madara is so jealous. Sharingan is the base, and it was merged by another force of mind to form these eyes, which are called the blue 10-star eyes. Quan Yu's body was slightly suspended. Another power. Madara was puzzled. Sharingan belongs to Yin Dun, and even the ultimate Yin Dun that Mangekyo can produce is not too much. Although he knows that Quan Yu will be able to wood style, it is by no means possible to accumulate so much power of the Sun Lua Wanxiang so quickly. What is the other power he is talking about? Does this power exist in the ninja world? Looking at Quan Yu's floating body. This is also your ability, Madara asked. No, this is what I cultivated, Quan Yu said with a smile. Cultivation? Madara was taken aback. But Quan Yu's words caused a sudden change in one's face. It's impossible. How long did you get the light and heavy rock technique, and why did you succeed in your cultivation so quickly? Oyemu roared in disbelief. Quan Yu smiled slightly and looked towards the sky. Of course he couldn't cultivate so quickly, but it has been speculated that Uchiha Madara will be resurrected, and of course he has to speed up his cultivation progress. Quan Yu looked to the sky, where there was a little turtle lying there. Damn Quan Yu, he has absorbed so much from my body. I won't help you again next time, Gifu said listlessly. That's right, Quan Yu can improve so quickly because of Isofu. He brought Gifu into the space and extracted its yin and yang escape, which directly changed the time flow rate of the space. Everything in Quan Yuneng masters space, even time is no exception. Just because it consumes too much, it has not been used. Then he kept comprehending gravity, coupled with shadow clone, and finally cultivated the earth attribute blood succession boundary in a short time. The yin and yang escape required to change the flow of time is simply terrifying, even the tail beast can't bear it. Even Iso may take a long time to recover, and Quan Yu's 5-layer activation was also cultivated as a result. Madara looked at Onoki over there. It seems that you have acquired a peculiar ability. Madara turned to look at Quan Yu. Although he didn't know the difficulty of practicing this technique, it was definitely not low, and Quan Yu's ability to cultivate so quickly must have something to do with his eyes. Yes, my eyes don't give me strong offensive abilities, but they are definitely an auxiliary weapon. Kuan Yu didn't mind exposing some of his abilities. I really want to try. Madara raised her hand and reached out to Kuan Yu. A strong gravitational force acted on Kuan Yu's body. Kuan Yu frowned, and the figure suddenly fell to the ground, but was still attracted by Madara. 2 ravines were plowed in the ground. At this time, Kuan Yu had increased her own gravity, but still could not stop this suction. But immediately Kuan Yu was shocked. It stopped immediately. Then he stretched out his hand towards Madara. Bang! Madara was shot off instantly. Madara fell into the distance and landed firmly on the ground. Neither of them used too much power, it was just a test. It seems that the basic abilities are about the same as Rinnegan, Madara said indifferently. Then let you see something special. Kuan Yu's body was suspended again. Then put your hands together. Dust escape, the original world peeling technique. A light white cube appeared in Kuan Yu's hand. The reason why Kuan Yu had to cultivate the unearthed attribute of blood succession boundaries so quickly was because of Chen escape. It's impossible. Onogi cried frantically. He couldn't believe that Kuan Yu could actually use dust escape, even though he had already practiced this bloodline's pre-ninjutsu, light heavy rock technique. But without guidance, it's impossible to cultivate this technique just like that. Others were also quite surprised, how many years Oyemu had cultivated before he cultivated Shenun. And Kuan Yu just used it like this. It's shaping. I didn't expect Kuan Yu to sneak out Chen Dun. Didn't he say no before? Sasuke said. Kuan Yu told them about the ability of this technique. This ability can mimic all chakra ninjutsu, including bloodline, that Kuan Yu has seen. But it must also have the attributes of master. It should be the reason why Kuan Yu cultivated the light and heavy rock technique, Itachi said. What do you mean? Onoki said, staring at Sasuke. We mean, as long as Kuan Yu has seen ninjutsu, he can use most of them, including bloodline, Sasuke sneered. What? Everyone was surprised. If this is the case, then Kuan Yu is not invincible. Not as powerful as you think, there are some limitations, but I have to say that this is a powerful ability. Itachi did not explain in detail, but this ability is quite pervert for these people. On Kuan Yu's side, pulling his hands directly, the cube suddenly expanded. It became a huge cube. He pushed towards Madara. Madara's eyes condensed, and she pressed her hands against Chen Yun. It doesn't seem to be afraid of being decomposed by the dust. In the dazzling white light, the cubes unexpectedly began to deform, as if they were gathering in one direction. Then everyone saw that Kuan Yu's dust escape was actually being absorbed by Madara. Getting eyes with similar power to me, we should know that ninjutsu is useless for us, Madara said coldly. What? Onoki looked at this scene in disbelief. He thought that Madara would at least avoid it, but in the current situation, Chen Dun has been absorbed. And it seems that Kuan Yu can do it too. What terrible power their eyes have. Of course I know, Kuan Yu let go. Dust escape lost its maintenance and was absorbed by Madara. The power of shaping is not so simple. A cube appeared in Kuan Yu's hands again. It's useless, it's the same several times. If it's useful, you have to try it before you know it, shape it. The shape of the dust in Kuan Yu's hand was actually changing, and it turned into a long cone-shaped stick, still emitting white light. Then Kuan Yu swept away Madara below. Sword of dust escape. The cylindrical stick suddenly stretched out and swept away directly at Madara. Madara frowned. Kuan Yu's use of dust escape in this way undoubtedly increased his speed. If he is accidentally swept away, his current body will also lose some chakra. But he also has a weapon in his hand. The Uchiha ball fan was swayed by Madara, and Chen Dun hit it, and after a burst of white light, it collapsed in an instant. It seems that remotely using this technique still can't work, Kuan Yu said regretfully. Madara's eyes narrowed, and he understood what Kuan Yu meant. He wanted to use Chen Dun as a weapon in close combat, and with Kuan Yu's physical skills, it would undoubtedly exert terrifying power. The sword of dust escape left in Kuan Yu's hand suddenly burst into pieces. You're done. Then it's up to me. Madara drank abruptly. Planetary devastation. Madara raised her hand, and a small black ball suddenly appeared and shot towards Kuan Yu. But before it gets closer, it starts to exude gravity. The earth is also shaking, and some rubble is constantly attracted to the past. But Kuan Yu just glanced at it, and a sharp blue cone that looked like a crystal was directly shot out by Kuan Yu. Directly inserted into the small black ball. The little black ball became unstable in an instant. Then there was an explosion in an instant. Boom. Kuan Yu raised his hand to block the shockwave of the explosion. The aftermath disappeared. Kuan Yu is still floating there. Actually, I can also use this technique. A small black ball appeared in Kuan Yu's hand, but he immediately took it back. That's it. Your ability is used to imitate other people's ninjutsu, Madara said. But there should be certain restrictions, otherwise it would be too scary. If Kuan Yu could imitate everything, then Rinnegan would have no meaning in the opponent's eyes, and there would be no such pervert ability in the world. Yes, I can't imitate some techniques. Kuan Yu didn't hide anything. This kind of ability is simply not enough in the eyes of the other party. And my other ability is the ability to ensure that I won't be killed by you. Kuan Yu's body disappeared instantly. Then suddenly appeared not far in front. This is not body flicker technique, Madara said, looking at Kuan Yu who suddenly appeared. The only thing that can do this is spatial ability. Madara narrowed her eyes. This kind of technique not only allows Kuan Yu to hide in space, but can also exert considerable power even in close combat. The opponent can enter the space to avoid attacks at any time, and then quietly appear next to you. There is no defense at all by ordinary means, and the Sword of Dust is added. It is very troublesome to be close by him. Why is Kuan Yu revealing his abilities? Isn't it better to use it for sneak attacks? Tsunade said in a puzzled way. I think Kuan Yu is not sure to deal with Uchiha Madara. It is only used as a deterrent now, Itachi said. What? Everyone was surprised. How strong this Uchiha Madara really is, even Kuan Yu, who is already strong pervert, is not sure. Tsunade winked at Kakashi who had been standing behind her, and Kakashi nodded. He knew what Tsunade-sama meant, and if necessary, he would use his abilities to cooperate with Kuan Yu to kill the opponent. Nice ability. I really can't kill you, Madara said. He also didn't expect that Kuan Yu actually obtained spatial ability, which meant that it was basically impossible for him to kill Kuan Yu now. Attacks in the real world cannot penetrate space at all. But can you stop me from killing others? Madara backed away quickly. Then it fell to one place. Susanoo appeared on him, and then Susanoo became two-sided and four-armed. Madara actually started to seal, and Susanoo's four arms also formed a seal. This move is Tengai Shinsei, Madara said with a sneer. Kuan Yu could see two huge meteorites suddenly appeared in the sky, and then began to fall. This seems to come from summoning somewhere. Madara wanted to raise this place directly, that is to say, the five shadows behind will be killed by him. Everyone is wondering what ninjutsu Madara used. But suddenly, look at what that is. Gaara pointed to the sky. The clouds in the sky are actually changing, as if something is going to come out of it. Then everyone saw in horror that a huge stone wall appeared in the sky. It is still expanding. The clouds were broken open directly. Damn it. Kuan Yu scolded angrily. Such a wide range of attacks is enough to destroy everyone except him. Although you can't kill you, the people behind you are going to die. I see what you can block. Madara put Susanoo away and said with her arms folded. Kuan Yu, think of a solution, Mifune shouted loudly. If such a huge rock falls to the ground, not only the five shadows will die, but the fortress and the samurai in it will be destroyed. The swords in the hands of some samurai were falling, and they couldn't believe it and watched this scene. Is that a lie? Everyone shed cold sweat on their foreheads. I will cooperate with Kuan Yu and use the light and heavy rock technique to block meteorites. Nowadays, Oyemu no longer struggles with Kuan Yu's ability to use Chen Dun. I think it shouldn't be necessary, Itachi said. Because he has seen Kuan Yu flying up. How could he block such a big meteorite alone? Fourth Raikage said anxiously. It was obvious that Kuan Yu would not die, but they said it was not necessarily so. You have to believe him, although you don't want to admit it. Sometimes, he is unexpectedly reliable, Sasuke said disdainfully. Everyone was silent. But Oyemu gritted his teeth and flew out. He cannot surrender his destiny to others. Grandpa, Black Earth exclaimed. But in the next scene, Oyemu stopped, and everyone's eyes widened. Dust escape, the original world peeling technique. The huge cube immediately covered the sky. Actually installed the meteorite directly. Drink, and Kuan Yu drank again. The cube expanded again in an instant, and there were two boulders, which was not enough to completely block it. What a terrifying chakra is this, Onoki said incredulously. Oh, I chose to use dust to escape. Madara was a little surprised. Kuan Yu was also sweating at this time, and he was a little overwhelmed with such a large-scale use of dust escape. When he saw that the meteorites were in the range, he immediately drank. Burst. there was a dazzling white light in the sky, stabbing everyone to open their eyes. Madara also squinted her eyes. The white light dissipated, and a huge cube cavity appeared in Yuncheng. The huge boulder that almost obscured the sky has disappeared. Where can I see the blue sky and the long-lost sun? The sun fell on Quan Yu, his body slowly falling, like a god from the heavens. But he did possess power similar to that of God. The people watching the battle were lost for a while, and some warriors even knelt down directly. Quan Yu fell to the opposite side of Madara. His face was a little pale. This was the result of extensive use of chakra. Quan Yu hasn't realized the feeling of chakra being consumed to this level for a long time. Not only chakra, but even physical strength has been exhausted to the limit. Unexpectedly, you actually consumed so much chakra for those people. Madara shook her head and said. Do you still have the power to stop me now? Everyone watching the battle was silent. Obviously Quan Yu could completely ignore them, but he still chose to consume himself. But Quan Yu smiled slightly. It's really a lot of consumption, but if I don't have a little confidence, how can I do this, and I will be able to fully recover soon? Madara frowned. He didn't believe that Quan Yu had consumed so much chakra and could recover quickly. He couldn't even do it in his heyday. Quan Yu's eyes closed slightly. Sword-like lines appeared on his forehead, and eyeshadow appeared on the corners of his eyes. It's just that this time it's different again. The original blue lines have turned purple, and Quan Yu's face has quickly become ruddy. I didn't want to expose this ability, but I didn't expect Master Madara to be so aggressive. Quan Yu opened his eyes and said. Shanshu. And it's not the magic of the 3 holy places. Madara frowned. But even if you have chakra, your chakra still doesn't reply. No, I am different from others. I can decompose natural energy and transform it into chakra. That is to say, as long as there is natural energy, I can recover at any time, Quan Yu said with a smile. The only pity is that there is no natural energy in his space, and it is too small to hold much. Otherwise, Quan Yu can speed up the time on his own. Although he does not use the tail beast to pervert, he can accumulate less. Madara frowned. He didn't know much about Shanshu. But probably the principle is still known. This Quan Yu actually has the ability to decompose natural energy, which can't help but frown. This is not an ordinary ability, and it has never appeared before. Now Madara-sama can talk to me about the conditions, Quan Yu said with a smile. He did this, of course, to delay time. He was also thinking about whether to borrow 9 tails from Konoha. With the amount of yin and yang that 9 tails possess, it should be able to be used for a long time. Even if it is only half. But it seems that there is still half of it outside. I'll talk about it later. Haha. Talk about terms, Quan Yu. I admit that you are really difficult to deal with, but do you really think you can stop me? A blue flame ignited on Madara's body. Quan Yu smiled slightly. Susanoo? A blue flame ignited on Quan Yu's body. Madara was startled. But he immediately thought of something. Then he put away Lan Yan. I actually forgot that your eyes also evolved from Sharingan. Madara was silent for a moment. Come on. What do you want to negotiate with me? Madara said lightly. Quan Yu has eyes of the same level as him, and should be able to use a full body Susanoo as well. Quan Yu also put away Lan Yan. Your goal is to collect tail beasts, but one tail has not been resurrected. Your goal has not been achieved yet, so we can postpone the fight again, Quan Yu said with a smile. Procrastinate for time. Do you want to take advantage of this time to increase your strength? Madara said. Yes, look, how about 3 years, after which I promise not to hide in space to avoid fighting. Quan Yu did not hide it either. Furthermore, you can't use all of Rinnegan's power in your current state. I still have a little confidence to seal you regardless of the cost. In terms of consumption, you are definitely not my opponent, Quan Yu continued. Quan Yu can absorb natural energy and replenish chakra at any time. Although Madara's chakra reserves are large enough, it cannot be recovered. Oh, you are kind of thinking about me. Madara thought about it slightly. If Quan Yu is really entangled, although he can still kill Wuken's shadow, it is very likely that Quan Yu will continue to consume himself, and it is really possible to be sealed by him. That said, he still escaped because of the people opposite. Madara's mouth showed disdain. You actually missed such a good opportunity because of these people. Your character is too weak. I won't be able to deal with it so well next time, Madara said with squinting eyes. So, Madara-sama agreed. Quan Yu didn't mind Madara's evaluation. I can let them go this time, but I only give you 1 year, Madara said. No, at least 2 years, Quan Yu said, staring at Madara. You have no room for bargaining. Madara's voice finally showed anger. Then a year and a half. Kuan Yu said cautiously. Deal. Madara said calmly. Forehead. Kuan Yu's black line was calculated. According to the information Madara got from Obito, the speed of this Kuan Yu's progress was terrifying, and he couldn't give him that much time. And he must take back his eyes and really come back to life. In addition, the Ghetto statue, which has sealed the five-tailed beasts, can surely kill Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu almost became a serious obstacle to his completion of the plan, and Three Tails was in the opponent's hands if he put the tail beast into the space. Then his plan will not succeed. Kuan Yu shook his head, then walked not far from Madara and stretched out his hand to Madara. Happy cooperation. Madara was taken aback for a moment. Now I appreciate you a little bit, Kuan Yu. Happy cooperation. Madara took a few steps forward, and also stretched out her hand, shook hands with Kuan Yu. I also admire Madara very much, but I have known your deeds since I was a child, and it is very detailed, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Madara frowned, and he always felt that Kuan Yu's words had no meaning. Humph, Madara threw her hand away. After hope, you don't let me down, this is not my full strength. Of course, I know it very well, Kuan Yu withdrew his hand indifferently at all. It's just a pity that he doesn't have a system. Otherwise, if he doesn't shake hands with Madara, he will get an achievement similar to shaking hands with the strongest man in the ninja world. From then on, start heaven-defying life. Madara also noticed that Kuan Yu looked at her weird eyes, feeling a little uncomfortable in her heart. Then he snorted and disappeared here. It's over. Hei-Tu said suspiciously. Otherwise, what do you want to do? Wait for Uchiha Madara to kill us? Sasuke said disdainfully. If it weren't for you, Kuan Yu would have a chance to solve Madara. Everyone was silent. At this time, Kuan Yu also flew back, and the immortal mark on his forehead disappeared. As for why the mark turns purple, that's because the pure chakra formed by Kuan Yu's transformation of natural energy, once again combined with natural energy, becomes a higher quality purple chakra. This also means that Kuan Yu's ninjutsu will be more powerful in the future. Let's go. Let's continue the meeting, Kuan Yu smiled. Brother Kuan Yu, I don't know if the conditions you mentioned before are still counted. Terumi Mei leaned over and rested on Kuan Yu's body. Master Mizukage, please respect yourself, but I have a fiancé. Kuan Yu hurriedly walked away. If this is known by Grandpa, I'm afraid it would be necessary to preach. The conditions remain the same. I welcome Master Mizukage to join at any time, Kuan Yu continued. Humph, Terumi Mei snorted dissatisfiedly. I don't know whether it is dissatisfaction with Kuan Yu's attitude or the fact that he has a fiancé. But Chongjuro and Ching behind her were embarrassed again. Onoki was silent for a moment, and then winked at the black earth with a look of expectation. The black soil suddenly brightened his eyes. Me, and me, Kuan Yu, you invited me, Hei-Tu shouted. Yes, Kuan Yu did not refuse, this was what he wanted in the first place. Kuan Yu used almost crushing power to tell them that if they did not join the Sky Council, they would only perish when facing Madara. Fourth Raikage's face is ugly. Now only him, Cloud Shinobi and Konoha, have not joined the Sky Council. But Konoha is where Kuan Yu was born, so it doesn't matter whether he joins or not. Fourth Raikage said hard. Killer Bee should be hiding somewhere. If it is him, I am willing to give the status of a counselor. I wonder if Lord Raikage agrees. Kuan Yu said with a smile, giving Fourth Raikage a step. Master Tsunade? We. Kakashi hesitated. Sorry, Kuan Yu, I don't have the right to let the Fire Country join the Sky Council, Tsunade said softly. Teacher, don't care about this. You can go back and discuss with third generation. If he is willing to let go, I welcome you to join at any time. It doesn't matter if you don't want it. Tsunade was silent. She knew that even if they didn't agree, Kuan Yu would protect Konoha. But, Tsunade sighed in his heart. I see, as Kuan Yu said, a new era has begun. Two people who were close to gods appeared, and the fate of Ninja World was almost in their hands. Many things are beyond their control. Castle in the sky. Let's start the meeting. Kuan Yu sat in the first place. 5 shadows are sitting on both sides. Itachi was also seated, and Sasuke was standing not far away against the wall. Behind Kuan Yu stood Kabuto, Shiro, and Keiko. The atmosphere is a bit heavy. Tsunade frowned when he looked at Kabuto behind Kuan Yu. Why did Orochimaru's people appear here? And Kuan Yu actually owns such an aerial fortress as a base. In a year and a half. I wonder if Your Excellency Chuan Yu is sure to defeat Uchiha Madara, fourth Raikage couldn't help but said. If he can't stop Uchiha Madara, then it's all over. It's hard to say. Madara's strength has not reached its limit, nor am I. Who can tell it clearly in the future, Quan Yu said calmly. Not to the limit. Fourth Raikage was startled. I don't know what the state of the limit you are talking about, Onoki asked in a deep voice. The strength of these two people is almost no rival in the ninja world, and even the ninja army will be instantly destroyed. How to put it, it's like the god you think, Quan Yu said after thinking about it. Isn't the Azuki goddess Kagaya the same? Quan Yu feels that there are not too many problems with this statement. Everyone's expressions were shocked. God? They recalled the myths and legends they had heard, flying away from the sky, moving mountains and seas, and even creating the world. Suddenly his face became unsightly. They also didn't know what Quan Yu was talking about, but that power was absolutely terrifying. But don't worry, if it's not so easy to achieve, his strength in the future may only be better than it is now, Quan Yu said. Not to mention the seriousness, it is estimated that the country behind them will not give up. Suddenly they began to be silent again. There is still a year and a half. Madara should be talking about credit. Let it go for the time being. What we are going to talk about now is the establishment of offices here. The reason for setting up an office is to peacefully resolve conflicts in each village, and it is also a channel for countries to cooperate with each other. I don't know what you think, there is such a big world outside, and you just fight here, causing the development of the ninja world to be so slow. Quan Yu said a lot, making everyone black, but it's not easy to attack. The world of ninja should now develop in both directions, and the training of ninjas should also be planned reasonably. I am not opposed to the establishment of armed forces in various countries, but ninjutsu can not only bring destruction. Gaara should be very clear, Quan Yu said. Yes, Quan Yu's wood style can help us create an oasis, Gaara said. This can also be used in other areas, such as water conservancy, agriculture, roads, and various other aspects, Quan Yu continued. There are still people who will starve to death, and I don't know what you think. The second direction is technology. Chakra is originally a magical force. We can use it to develop technology, make life better, and even open up the world. These are my general thoughts, any comments can be raised, Quan Yu said. Everyone thought, yes, there is nothing wrong with the direction Quan Yu provided. But once Quan Yu died, of course it did not mean that Quan Yu would definitely be killed. But he will always be old, even though he is still young now. If the next generation waits for Quan Yu to die, will war break out again? In principle, there is no problem. If the future world loses your suppression, will it follow the old path, Tsunade said. Peace has always been a problem. Although there is Quan Yu's suppression, contradictions can be discussed on the table. But it is impossible that there is no contradiction, and war may break out in the future. That's why I set up the Sky Council. Only those selected by the nine-tailed beasts can become members. The tailed beasts will not die, and my successor does not have much power, but only decides the direction of development. Quan Yu doesn't say that he will not die of old age, who has the mind to keep doing this work. But if the person selected by the tail beast has his own selfishness, Onoki said. This is not so easy. The tail beast has the ability to discern people's various emotions, and it is not so easy to get the tail beast's approval. Can the selected person have the ability to deal with these things? This kind of thing is too random, Terumi Mei took the conversation and said. Therefore, there is an age limit. If you are over 25 years old, you must have a certain ability to accept the tail beast's approval. Before the age of 25, you can slowly cultivate. The previous generation of parliamentarians can do this. With the tailed beasts, it is almost impossible for anyone to hide in their eyes. Some innocuous emotions can be accepted, but once a congressman has a big problem, then he will be expelled immediately. There is basically no bias towards a certain country. Moreover, this is also a solution to external conflicts, and the internal Quan Yu will ignore it, as long as it does not go too far. Quan Yu did not intend to establish a Kun sub-country. Just ask the Sky Council to be absolutely fair. Everyone nodded. Although they don't know why the tail beast possesses this ability, it does ensure the fairness of the Sky Council. At the same time, the Sky Council of the Master Tail Beast also has the power to suppress everything. And the duty of the Sky Council is not only that, they also protect the ninja world from being violated by external forces, Quan Yu said. External force? Everyone was a little puzzled. Hehe. You have never paid attention to this sky. There is infinite space there. Do you think that other humanoids will not appear? Kuan Yu said. The ninja world has already been invaded once. This is too far to say, it's just a preparation, Kuan Yu said with a smile. But in fact, Kuan Yu knew that it was not far away. I will return to China as soon as possible to discuss with the daimyo, fourth Raikage said. The others also nodded. These things are not completely determined by their shadows, but there is basically no problem. The power that Kuan Yu possesses is terrible. And they have to face the threat of Uchiha Madara. And Kuan Yu is relatively gentle here, and Kuan Yu has no plans to conquer the world. In this way, establishing a relationship with the Sky Council is not a bad thing. They really need a way to resolve external contradictions, not through war. Then it depends on your actions. During this time, my fiancé, Keiko, will temporarily handle these matters. I will step up my practice to deal with the subsequent crisis. Kuan Yu stood up and said, Hello everyone, I'm Senju Keiko. I hope you can give me some advice. Keiko stood up and said with a bow. Everyone nodded. Kuan Yu's fiancé's identity could indeed represent Kuan Yu, and they had nothing to say. Everything Kuan Yu envisioned can only be completed after he defeated Uchiha Madara. And they also know some of Kuan Yu's information, and they can make such progress in such a short time. After a year and a half, he should be more confident. It's just that Terumi Mei lamented that she has a fiancé at such a young age. And she hasn't married yet. If you need help, you can mention it at any time, and we will definitely help, fourth Raikage said politely. Although he doesn't think they can help much, he still has to be interesting. Really, can you let him stay? Kuan Yu pointed to Darui and said. He still needs lightning-style bloodline. Although he has not yet cultivated to the ultimate fire attribute, let alone the thunder attribute. But it's not wrong to prepare first. Fourth Raikage was startled. Although Darui had been selected as the successor of Raikage, how could he let Kuan Yu notice? Yes, after setting up an office, Darui will manage it, fourth Raikage said. If Darui had anything special, it was only his master's Black Thunder secret art and Lan Dun bloodline. But for Kuan Yu, isn't this just something that you can see at a glance? He didn't mind that, after all, the dust of Onoki had also been learned. But fourth Raikage would really be wrong. This is really not Kuan Yu's ability to look at it. Darui said, pointing to himself in disbelief. He never expected that his own little transparency would attract Kuan Yu's attention. Your Excellency Kuan Yu, please advise, Darui said hurriedly, bowing. You don't need to be polite, I'm very talkative, but I am actually very interested in your Black Thunder secret technique, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Sure enough, fourth Raikage thought. However, I will also pay the price. You see how immortal arts are, but cultivation requires talent, and I can't guarantee success, Kuan Yu said. Shanshu. Everyone was surprised. I had a chance in the first place, said Heitu pursing his mouth and pulling Onoki in displeasure. Oh no, wood hurts, he would have known this a long time ago, and he joined the Sky Council from the beginning. Your Excellency Kuan Yu, Onoki said embarrassedly. Yes, just treat it as compensation for the previous thing, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Gaara didn't speak, he was the first to join, he was qualified to practice Shanshu. However, you have to work hard to increase your chakra amount, otherwise you will not be able to control the magic, and there is no guarantee of success, Kuan Yu said. But it's worth it. Once you have successfully practiced, you can almost match the shadows of other villages, Kuan Yu explained. Tsunade nodded. Naruto also returned to Konoha, and she knew the power of Shanshu. Improve the various abilities of the ninja in all aspects. What about us? Terumi Mei said dissatisfied. You have them too, come out, Shueui, Kuan Yu said. Ahaha. Master Mizukage, hello, Shueui walked out from behind a pillar awkwardly. Are you? Terumi Mei said suspiciously. I am the younger brother of Guidangman Yu, Shui Yu said cautiously. Shueui is also qualified to practice celestial arts, but it seems that he doesn't work hard, Kuan Yu looked at Shueui and said. No, I worked very hard, Shueui said with a sad face. Kuan Yu is a pervert, he really can't compare, but he really worked very hard. Terumi Mei's eyes rolled. Although Suizuki is not yet a ninja of Kirigakure, it is a bit related. It's always right to win. Brother Suizuki, let's go outside and talk. Terumi Mei winked at Ao and Chojuro. In an instant, the two appeared behind Shueui and walked outside while holding Shueui. Shueui looked helpless, and since Kuan Yu mentioned him, the meaning of it was self-evident, it was to balance the 5 countries. So he did not resist either. The others are leaders of one party, and of course they know what Kuan Yu means. This is also the method Kuan Yu uses to strengthen the ties between all parties. Those who can come here are important people in the villages, and even Shueui is a member of the Sky Council directly. Even Tsunade had to admire Kuan Yu's methods. It seemed that he had really grown up. If you can, Mr. Tsunade can bring Naruto over, and I can see if I can solve his problem of fairy magic, Kuan Yu said. Problem? Tsunade was puzzled. Tsunade was not surprised that Kuan Yu knew that Naruto had already practiced immortality. But what is the problem, he said. It seems to find an opportunity to ask Jiraiya. I will tell Naruto, but Naruto is Jinchuriki, and she is afraid that third generation will oppose it. Sasuke on one side also moved, and then he took a look at Kuan Yu and left here. It's okay, the problem shouldn't be too big, and it's okay if it doesn't come, Kuan Yu said. The magic of Mount Myoboku should also be soft control, and it should be no problem in the short term. If the group of toads dare to come out to be demon, he will let them know the consequences. Orochimaru base. Is the investigation clear? Uchiha Madara asked, sitting on a stone chair. The investigation has made it clear that his base should be in the sky of the Iron Country. After Kuan Yu left, I found a lot of flying devices in the Iron Country, Ju said. No wonder, we couldn't find his place, it turned out to be in the sky, Obito gritted his teeth. It's useless to know, I'm afraid that the time he died, the master already had a peculiar power, Madara said lightly. The origin of Kuan Yu's eyes has not been found out, and he died and resurrected, this matter is too special. After that, it was not so simple for Obito and the others to kill Kuan Yu. Now we are still bad, 1 tail, 3 tails and 9 tails chakra have not been collected, what are you going to do next, Obito said. No, I can find a part of 3 tails, Ju said with a smile. Oh, isn't 3 tails in Kuan Yu's hands, Madara said. Hee, the 3 tails in his hand has 1 eye missing, Ju said with a smile. So that's it, Madara nodded. What about 1 tail and 9 tails? Obito frowned. If it's just a part of chakra, I can do it, Orochimaru said, who hadn't spoken all the time. Oh, Madara's eyes lit up. Jinchuriki from Impure World Reincarnation has a part of the tail beast chakra itself, and I don't know if it will be enough, Orochimaru said with a smile. They had reincarnated Jinchuriki to deal with Kuan Yu before, and Orochimaru also discovered that they have a certain tailed beast chakra. Kuan Yu's power is indeed shocking, and his relationship with Kuan Yu is not harmonious. If Madara loses here, she might not be able to escape Kuan Yu's chase. So he tried his best to provide Madara's needs, although he didn't know why Madara and the others wanted to collect the chakra of chi-tailed beasts so much. 1 tail's chakra doesn't need much, but the most important 9 tails, chakra must be enough, he said after thinking about it. In the case of 9 tails, it is not Jinchuriki that needs to be reincarnated. It's hard to say the exact number, Orochimaru frowned. At this time Orochimaru didn't know that Namikaze Minato had a half-tailed beast in his body. Namikaze Minato was sealed because of his soul, and Orochimaru has never been reborn. You can prepare first, if not, I will summoning out 9 tails, Madara said with squinting eyes. Understood, Orochimaru said with a bow. Then take our first step now, get my eyes back, and bring me back to life. Madara stood up. And Kuan Yu is here. He was about to practice, but he was stopped for nothing. Kuan Yu. Conan said he wants to see you, Bai ran over and said. See me? Okay, take me over. Although Kuan Yu wondered why Conan, who had been silent for so long, wanted to see him. But I still have to check it out. Bai brought Kuan Yu to a room. Conan. What's the matter with you? Kuan Yu said suspiciously. Conan glanced blankly. Bai smiled slightly, then retreated directly to the door, and closed the door. You have basically completed your ideals, congratulations, Conan said slowly. Although Conan kept shutting himself in the room, he still got some news from his mouth. Fortunately, many things have not been completed yet, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Conan was silent for a moment. Kuan Yu, can you help Nagato? Conan's eyes were a little dim. Oh, it's not that I didn't help, you also saw Nagato's attitude, Kuan Yu said with a sigh. I know, Nagato is not willing to be manipulated by his own destiny, but... Conan stood up and walked to Kuan Yu. This is for you from Nagato, Conan handed over a small wooden box. What is this? Kuan Yu asked curiously. Open it up, Kuan Yu. I really hope you can help Nagato, Conan whispered. I will find a way, But also see how Uchiha Madara will do, Kuan Yu said helplessly. If Orochimaru reincarnated directly from Nagato, Kuan Yu could not resurrect Nagato. Kuan Yu took the box, and he was also curious about what Nagato gave him. But as soon as Kuan Yu opened the box, his expression changed drastically. This. Kuan Yu's expression is a bit complicated, and the contents of the box are likely to be a hot potato to him. But this also represents Nagato's trust. He didn't know how to deal with it for a while. Forget it. I will find a way later, Kuan Yu said, closing the box. I don't know what Nagato left for Kuan Yu. Rain Shinobi Village, the base of Dawn. He's not here. Absolutely appeared. Looking at the empty base, frowned. But you can't escape, and then absolutely sank to the ground again. A lakeside. A man with a hat is walking slowly forward. You want to go there? Obito walked out from behind a tree next to him. Where do I want to go? Do I need to explain to you? The man said slowly. I don't need to explain to him, but what belongs to me must be taken back. A man in a red armor walked out from behind Obito. Uchiha Madara. The man spoke slowly. Oh, know me, Madara said flatly. Of course, I also know that you are here to get your eyes back. The man's tone had no emotion. Madara frowned and looked at Obito. Obito frowned. How did Nagato know? Yes, those are my eyes, and you are just a container. Madara originally had only Sharingan's eyes and became Rinnegan. He didn't know how Nagato knew about it, but now there is no need to hide it. Rinnegan, sure enough. It seems you know something, Nagato, Madara said with squinting eyes. Yahiko's death has something to do with you, Nagato said while looking at Madara. It doesn't matter to us. The kind of organization you built will be destroyed sooner or later, but you didn't see through it, and I just added a force to it. Otherwise, you didn't wake up so quickly, Rinnegan, Obito said indifferently. Nagato's body was shocked. The restriction of Geto statue is also yours, Uchiha Madara. Yes, I need an obedient container, but I didn't expect you to recover. It seems that Kuan Yu has brought me a little trouble, Madara said, holding her hand. Hee. Do you like to play with others so much? Is it a sin to be weak? Could it be our fate? Madara frowned. Weakness is sin. Didn't you think the same way before? Besides, I will achieve your goals. A little sacrifice is also possible. Ha ha ha. I was wrong before. No wonder Kuan Yu disagrees with me. Madara, you will pay the price, and I will pay the price soon. Nagato pointed to Madara and said. Don't you want Rinnegan? Even if I destroy it, I won't give it to you. Suddenly, Nagato's body was shocked. But Madara's cold face didn't stop Nagato. Hee. Do you think I didn't leave any tricks? It's uncomfortable to be bitten by Rinnegan, right? Madara sneered. It turns out that Madara has long left a limit in Rinnegan. Once someone wants to destroy it, it will be backlashed by Rinnegan's pupils. That's why he is not worried, and he took the initiative to do so, and it just saved him some effort. It just made him wonder why Nagato didn't resist, but just prepared to destroy Rinnegan. Nagato didn't speak, but trembling hands, stretching out the curtain of the hat. You have no chance, absolutely. Madara still had apathy in her eyes. In his eyes, Nagato is just a tool for preserving Rinnegan and a tool for his resurrection. At this time, a black shadow sprang out from under Nagato's feet in an instant, clinging to Nagato's body, and fusing in. Nagato's hand immediately dropped. But at this moment, Ju's voice came out. I think we might be in trouble, Madara frowned. Nagato's other black hand took off the hat from his head. Only half of Nagato's face was covered in black, one eye exposed Rinnegan, and the other was closed. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect it, Uchiha Madara, you will never get another Rinnegan, Nagato laughed wildly. Damn it. Madara's eyes were filled with anger. He finally knew why the other party didn't resist. Then his body disappeared instantly, appeared beside Nagato, and grabbed Nagato's neck in one fell swoop. Obito was also extremely shocked, the other Rinnegan. Destroyed. There is only incomparable fear in his heart. Say, what about the other eye? Madara drew Nagato to her eyes. I won't tell you, if you can kill me, Nagato sneered. Absolutely. No, he has a prohibition in his mind, Ju exclaimed. Aren't you going to use me to resurrect? Come on, kill me, Nagato exclaimed frantically. Madara's eyes were full of anger. Nagato cannot be killed now, he needs Nagato to use Rinnegan to bring him back to life. But now he can't read the memory in his mind. Absolutely, revolving heaven is born, Madara did not hesitate. Clear. Then Wajul controlled Nagato's body and began to seal. A Rinnegan was reluctant to use the wheel revolving heaven, but Nagato's body recovered a lot. It should be enough, but it will die immediately after use. It feels bad to be calculated. Uchiha Madara, ha ha ha. Nagato still had a sneer on his face with a seal on his hand. That is a kind of pleasure. Very well, don't think I can't see your memory, I will find my eyes. Madara does not believe that Nagato will destroy such a precious Rinnegan. Even if you know it, you can't get it back, Nagato sneered. Madara furrowed her brows. Hearing Nagato's words, she had an unknown premonition. Round revolving heaven, the procedure is ready. There was blue smoke on Madara's body, but he was not at all happy, but looked at his hands. He is resurrected. Black Zetsu quickly separated from Nagato, and then came to Madara's side. Nagato knelt on the ground weakly, his eyes closed tightly. You will pay the price, I have come to see you Yahiko. Gradually, Nagato disappeared. Give me your eyes. Madara raised her head and saw that in his eye sockets, the original Rinnegan had disappeared. Black Zetsu gave Rinnegan in his hand to Madara. Then Madara grabbed it and pressed her eye. This Rinnegan was pressed against his eyes. What shall we do now? Ju asked. Bring the corpse back and let Orochimaru reincarnate, Madara said lightly. Understood, and the other side. Kabuto collapsed to the ground with a tired face. Master Quan Yu, it still didn't succeed, Kabuto said weakly. Try again, Quan Yu said with a frown. Then he put his hand on Kabuto's body and transported him chakra. That's right, Quan Yu is preparing to reincarnate as Nagato. But he didn't know when Madara would go to Nagato. So I only tried it over and over again, if it succeeds. Rinnegan in his hand became a bargaining chip to blackmail Madara. Understand, Kabuto nodded. And Quan Yu looked at chakra. The yin and yang escape in the center of the talisman. If it doesn't work this time, you have to give up. Kabuto has used impure world reincarnation too many times. Although there is no shortage of chakra, he can't support his spirit. And Quan Yu just gave it a try. He originally planned to replace it with Rinnegan. It's just a shame. The debris gradually wrapped the yin and yang escape, and then turned into a human form. Hey, it was successful, Quan Yu exclaimed. It had always been a group before, and it was not a human form. And now this scene shows that they have summoned their souls. Unexpectedly, you actually resurrected me, Nagato said while looking at his body. He felt that he should have just died. Although every resurrected person thinks this way, he really just died. It's just luck, I didn't expect you to give Rinnegan to me. Quan Yu and Nagato walked side by side in the corridor. Nagato's eyes are still a pair of Rinnegan. I just don't want Madara to get it, it's most suitable for you, Nagato said complicatedly. Quan Yu has the strength not to lose Uchiha Madara, even if he knows that he is here, he can't get it back. Actually, the round eyes are not very useful to me, it will irritate Uchiha Madara, Quan Yu shook his head and said. He took Rinnegan and didn't gush out too much, put it on Sasuke? Although it can play a certain strength, it is still not much use. Even you are not sure, Nagato said with a frown. He knows what Quan Yu means. It's not right now, you may not know, I just made an agreement with him, 1.5 years later, we will solve our problem, Quan Yu said. Are you worried that he will come to you for trouble because of this matter not complying with the agreement? Nagato said. That's not true. He only has one Rinnegan after he is resurrected. I am not sure to deal with him, nor is he sure to deal with me. I don't think he is so eager, Quan Yu said with a smile. He probably didn't know that Rinnegan was with you. I didn't reveal this information, Nagato thought for a while and said. You look down on them too much. You can't keep them from resurrecting, so I think they will be able to guess it soon. While talking, Quan Yu looked forward. I have something to do, so I won't bother you. Quan Yu smiled and turned to leave. Not far away Konan was standing there. And in Orochimaru's base, Madara, Obito and Absolutely stood beside a huge talisman formation, while Orochimaru was pressing his hands on the ground. No, you can't reincarnate, Orochimaru stood up and said. Can't reincarnate? He died right in front of us, and the soul can't be sealed, Obito frowned. It is not only in this situation that reincarnation fails, Orochimaru said with a smile. You should take me directly. Someone is one step ahead of us. Obito was a little dissatisfied. How could they take Orochimaru, who has a problem with this kind of thing? And someone in advance? Quan Yu, Obito exclaimed. Yes, only he can do it, Orochimaru said lightly. It's impossible, the relationship between Nagato and Izumi. Obito said incredulously. No, it is possible. Nagato knows so much information, it should be Quan Yu who told him, and Conan is gone, Ju said. So, my eyes are in Quan Yu's place, Madara's voice sounded, but there was no emotion. However, when we played against each other before, he shouldn't have to hide it, Madara continued. Quan Yu even exposed his abilities, it is impossible to hide this matter. He can definitely make more excessive demands. Judging from Quan Yu's past, he is not a treacherous person. With the blue 10-star eyes, he doesn't seem to need Rinnegan. It might be Conan, and it was handed over to Quan Yu later, Ju said. Damn it. Obito scolded. If Rinnegan is at Quan Yu's place, it is basically difficult to get it back, and he will not let the enemy become stronger. Let's go to Konoha and force him to hand over Rinnegan, Obito said harshly. He wanted to force Quan Yu again. Shut up. You were asking me to break the agreement, Madara said with squinting eyes. But. Obito wanted to say something, but looking at Madara Senhan's eyes, he couldn't say it anymore. It suddenly became quiet here. Absolutely, you go to Quan Yu's place and see what price I need to pay before he will return his eyes to me, Madara said. Madara's eyes flickered. Since Quan Yu had communicated with Nagato in advance, he could take Rinnegan away. But he didn't do this, probably because of Nagato, or other reasons. But why did he do this? Looking at the previous situation, Quan Yu clearly knew that he was going to be resurrected. In his eyes, Quan Yu became a little mysterious. I see, Ju bowed and said. Rinnegan alone cannot use infinite Tsukuyomi. In this case, Madara would not choose to summon the sacred tree. Rinnegan must get it back. Will he give it? Obito asked. If Quan Yu returned Rinnegan to them, he would undoubtedly be a rival. Yes, Rinnegan is not very useful in his hands, he has his own eyes, Madara said lightly. The difference is just what price we have to pay. The battle between Quan Yu and Uchiha Madara is also rapidly fermenting. Not only the emergence of Quan Yu, but also Madara's bizarre resurrection have become the focus of discussion among everyone. And the strength of the two also made everyone feel disgusted. Too many people have seen this battle, and it is impossible to hide the news. At the same time, the agreement of a year and a half made everyone nervous. It even caused some confusion, but it was quickly suppressed. None of this is necessary. The fate of the ninja world will be determined by the two people who will meet again in a year and a half. At least Quan Yu is still on the side of each country. Although they must join the Sky Council, it is better than being invaded by Uchiha Madara. And under this trend, some things that were originally important have become less important. Cloud Shinobi Village. Assemble the senior management and prepare to start the meeting, 4th Raikage said. Yes, but the nearest village. Other things, put it aside, the daimyo has received the news, right? Yes, they are rushing here, I see. 4th Raikage finished speaking and left here. The ninja who reported just now wants to say something, but 4th Raikage has already left. The situation in other villages is similar. They have too many things to discuss, not just the issue of joining the Sky Council. And how to deal with Madara's problem, they can't just put hope on Quan Yu. On Gaara's side, they have already joined the Sky Council, and everything that should be discussed has already been discussed. Gaara, during the time you left, a bloodline ninja in our village disappeared, Baki said. Gaara frowned. The bloodline ninja is a valuable asset for every village. Have you found anything? Gaara asked. It is preliminarily determined that they were taken away, who is still being tracked, Baki said with an ugly face. Add more staff, you must check it out, Gaara said. He always felt that this matter would not be so simple. Who dared to do it directly at Sanagakure, or while he was leaving? There is so little information left. I feel that there are some problems. This is definitely premeditated, Baki said. Let's get some clues first, there have been a lot of recent things. Gaara thoughtfully. Baki nodded. Compared with the fact that countries join the Sky Council, this matter is simply inconspicuous. It is impossible for them to trouble Quan Yu because of this incident. And Konoha's side. Tsunade has also returned to Konoha. A large conference room is full of people, and these are basically the high levels of Konoha or Fire Country. Even the daimyo sat next to 3rd generation. They had received the message from Tsunade a long time ago, so they came to hold an emergency meeting. In principle, I have no opinion on joining the Sky Council, daimyo of Fire Country said, covering his mouth with a fan. After all, we have to face the threat of Uchiha Madara. It is undoubtedly a good choice to join the Sky Council. Yes, Da-Ming-sama, Quan Yu also welcomes us to join, and... Tsunade stood up and said. I don't think so, third generation said lightly, interrupting Tsunade's next words. Make Tsunade frowned. Now the situation is very clear, she doesn't know why third generation still has opinions.
Oh, what's your opinion, Lord Third Generation? The daimyo said in surprise.
In the current situation, they do not have much choice. Kuan Yu was born in Konoha. If we join in hastily, it may cause hostility from other countries, third generation said slowly. Kuan Yu will not have any bias, Tsunade said with a frown. If you think so, other countries don't think so. It's not time to join now. We can wait for him and Uchiha Madara after the battle is over. This can weaken the hostility of other countries to the Nation of Fire, third generation said blankly. The following senior executives also talked about it. The meaning of third generation is obvious. They do not join now, just to make other countries think that they are still separated from Kuan Yu. In this way, if you join after the event is over, you can level the image power of countries in the Sky Council. Undoubtedly, this is reducing their advantage, but if you think about it carefully, too much advantage is not a good thing. Originally, the country of fire was strong enough. If Kuan Yu was biased, a series of problems would arise. Then what if Uchiha Madara shoots at us, the fire country daimyo said with a frown. The words of the daimyo shocked everyone. This was a real threat. They did not have much resistance to such a powerful Uchiha Madara. He will not shoot, as I said. Everyone knows our relationship with Kuan Yu. He shoots us, and he shoots Kuan Yu. There is no difference, third generation said. Although what third generation said is correct, it always makes people feel that they accepted Kuan Yu's protection without paying anything. This is undoubtedly taking advantage of Kuan Yu's relationship with them. Da Ming was a little embarrassed. Third generation said that there is no problem, but it would be too ugly to do so. Kuan Yu won't mind. Let's discuss the next item. If Kuan Yu fails, what should we do? Third generation knocked on the table and said. Everyone's expressions suddenly changed. If Kuan Yu fails, the consequences will undoubtedly be very serious. But this again has to be considered. I have confidence in Kuan Yu. With his speed of improvement, 1.5 years is enough, Tsunade said. Kuan Yu can be said to be her best disciple, and she believes in Kuan Yu. Thinking about defeat before winning, we must also prepare early, Tsunade. You still think too one-sidedly, third generation looked at Tsunade and said. Although I don't know much about ninjas, do we really have the ability to resist? The daimyo frowned deeply. In the information sent back by Tsunade, can those ninjas such as Konoha really destroy the power that destroys the world? Hehe. Uchiha Madara is undoubtedly very powerful, almost unmatched, but after he fought with Kuan Yu, who is close to him, third generation said with squinting eyes. Everyone was surprised. Is this to pick up the bargain? But this is also the best way. Even if Kuan Yu is lost, Uchiha Madara and Kuan Yu are likely to be seriously injured if they fight again. Tsunade frowned. If you don't consider personal feelings, this is undoubtedly the best way. But Tsunade noticed the movement on the daimyo's face, and she knew it was basically impossible to change their minds. Naruto. What should I do over there? We cannot protect Naruto in our current situation, Tsunade said, turning off the subject. You want to send it to Kuan Yu, third generation said. Yes, only Kuan Yu can protect Naruto, Tsunade nodded and said. Third generation was silent for a moment. Let Naruto go to Mount Myoboku, even Uchiha Madara can't get there. Jiraiya is also frowning. In this situation, third generation is not prepared to cooperate with Kuan Yu at all. Tsunade has nothing to say. She doesn't know why third generation is targeting Kuan Yu in this way, but Kuan Yu has been helping Konoha. Moreover, Kuan Yu's attitude towards Konoha seems to be a bit problematic. He can help Konoha, but he will never take the initiative to bring Konoha closer. This is very different from the way other countries are treated. It stands to reason that they should be the easiest to join the Sky Council. But the current situation seems to be springing on the embankment. The meeting is continuing. They also discussed some other issues, but Tsunade never said anything. After the meeting, everyone else left here one after another. And third generation smokes a cigarette here alone. The other people, he let them leave, even the two elders Konoha who wanted to ask about it. Blue star eyes, Rinnegan, you are forcing me. Blue 10 star eyes, interesting, there are actually such eyes, a voice sounded in the dark. But it's not my turn to play, there will be a chance. After this sentence was finished, there was silence again. Konohabara root base. Master third generation, you're ready, said Yui Lu, who was covered in bandages and only showed his eyes. His eyes were full of excitement. Third generation glanced at Beiluhu, but his eyes were strange. I got the latest thing, third generation said lightly. Yes, but if we succeed, our strength will not be worse than them, or even stronger, Beiluhu said confidently. He believes in his research that the power of fusing the 5 bloodlines is definitely not as powerful as usual. Oh, really, but the current situation does not allow us to make too much action. Once Quan Yu finds out what the consequences will be, you should know, third generation showed disdain. Although we took the bloodline ninjas from the villages at this critical time, we also borrowed the light of this incident. If we act again, it is likely to attract attention. Third generation was originally going to take advantage of the 5 Shadows conference to take away some bloodline ninjas. The result was achieved. But because of the appearance of Quan Yu and Uchiha Madara, the ties between countries have become closer. If countries exchange news, it will undoubtedly alarm Quan Yu. Coupled with the efforts of various countries to investigate, this matter may not be concealed for long. So they can't act for the time being. The loss of a bloodline ninja will not attract too much attention, but the two are different. But this time they only collected the bloodline ninja needed for one experiment. Then what shall we do? Beiluhu also frowned. Now almost no one dares to resist Quan Yu, not even third generation. Take me to see them, third generation did not continue. Yes, although Beiluhu had some doubts, he passed by with third generation. In the laboratory, 5 people in white robes were lying neatly on the bench. There are 4 men and 1 woman, but they all have their eyes closed. Only from their slightly undulating chests can I know that they are all alive. This is their physical data. They have been checked in detail and there is no problem. Beiluhu handed a stack of documents to the third generation who was standing there. Third generation took it and looked at it carefully. But he frowned soon. The people you choose seem to have a different level of development for bloodline, third generation said. Bloodline ninjas are not easy to catch. We can collect these manpower that we have already lost a lot, Beiluhu said cautiously. The bloodline of these ninjas is a fusion of 2 attributes, and he just barely made up the attributes of the 5 elements. This is already not easy. Of course third generation knows that it is not easy to sneak into other villages to capture bloodline ninjas. Sometimes there is no choice at all, and it's good to be able to do this now. This was originally for Beilu to call himself the first experiment, and he did not pay too much attention to it. How is the celestial phenomenon? Third generation asked. Recently, there is a suitable celestial phenomenon. Beiluhu's eyes were full of excitement, and he was finally about to fulfill his dream. Very well, help me transplant Ghost Loya, third generation said lightly. Beilu stunned. Lord third generation, what do you mean? I'll come first this time, I don't have time to wait, third generation stared at Beiluhu and said. But. Not so much, but I will certainly help you when I finish it. I now need enough strength to fight against Quan Yu. Third generation's eyes are all indifferent, and it doesn't give Humble a chance to refute. Beiluhu's body stiffened, and the cold sweat suddenly shed. He felt the intent to kill, and he knew that if he disagreed, third generation would really kill himself. I know, Beiluhu said with difficulty. I won't forget you. Go get ready, third generation patted Beiluhu on the shoulder. Yes, Beiluhu left with regret. He couldn't resist third generation at all. The prohibition in his mind could kill him at any time. And third generation stood here quietly, looking at the 5 people on the platform and didn't know what they were thinking. There is no time, although it was different from what he expected. But he himself has the attributes of the 5 elements, and should be able to barely maintain the balance of the 5 elements. Third generation's eyes became deep, and he had to give it a try. Otherwise, whether it is Izumi Yu or Uchiha Madara who wins, Konoha has no chance to rise again. Quan Yu, you made a wrong choice, you could have been. And Orochimaru, who was also sitting and preparing. Orochimaru-sama, this is the most recent experiment record. The letter respectfully placed a pile of experiment reports on the ground. Orochimaru glanced at the large number of incubation rooms in front of him. In the incubation room was a child with closed eyes, who seemed to be only 4 or 5 years old. He accepted the report of the experiment, and then looked at it seriously. How is the fusion experiment I asked you to do? Orochimaru said while looking at the experiment report. It's done. Although the cells you gave me are too old, they have a very good fusion with Uchiha Sasuke. The genes of the 2 are not at all repulsive, as if they are the same person, but one is young and the other is old. Moreover, the fused cells are more active, Shin said excitedly. Does this mean that the newly created experimental body can withstand the more intense illusion transplanted memory? Orochimaru said with a smile. It seems that Uchiha Madara's cells did not disappoint him, and his cells match Sasuke's cells very well. Yes, Master Orochimaru, our research progress can be speeded up, and a suitable test subject will be obtained soon, Shin nodded and said. A smile appeared on Orochimaru's face, and it was indeed the cell of Uchiha Madara. I just don't know if I can start Rinnegan. But Orochimaru thinks the possibility is unlikely, but a pair of Mangekyo also has a chance. But this kind of power is not enough to see in front of those two people, unless Quan Yu has the same spatial ability as Obito. This can only be seen from the results of subsequent experiments. Mangekyo's abilities are too random, and he doesn't know what kind of abilities he can acquire. Speed? Up. I need to see the results of the experiment faster. Yes, but Orochimaru-sama, I have an idea. A smile appeared on Shin's face, a little confident. Oh, it looks like a good idea, Orochimaru said with a chuckle. We can continuously implant the fused cells into the existing experimental body, which can save a lot of time. Shin's idea is to use these cells to continuously replace the original cells of the experimental body, and gradually strengthen the physical activity of the experimental body. In this way, there is no need to replace these experimental subjects that have been cultivated to a certain level. Hee. Very good idea, letter. I am more and more satisfied with you. Orochimaru's eyes lit up. What he lacks most is time, and there is not so much time for him in the current situation. Even if you can't beat those two people, you still have to protect yourself. It is too dangerous to work with someone like Madara, they have never trusted themselves. And he also faintly felt that the other party had a bigger plan, which made him feel urgent. It is my honor to be able to work for Orochimaru-sama, Shin hastily expressed his loyalty. He believed that once this experiment was completed, Lord Orochimaru would not be stingy with a pair of Mangekyo. I may not be here recently, you have to pay attention, if you have any situation, contact me in time, Orochimaru said solemnly. He doesn't worry about believing in rebellion, and he should be restrained. And Uchiha Madara didn't care about his experiment at all, even if he knew he was studying Sharingan. Obviously they don't think Orochimaru can get Sharingan's power in this way. Even if they get it, it won't be enough in their eyes. But if they knew that they were experimenting with Madara's cells, it would be different. Fortunately, they set the location of the base in Rain Shinobi Village, otherwise Madara might find something. In order not to be discovered, he must stay there often to let them relax their vigilance. After all, they still need his help in a lot of things, and Orochimaru smiled. On Quan Yu's side, people from various countries began to move in non-stop, but the position of the Sky Council was too high, and it was difficult for them to get there. So they proposed to Keiko to lower the height. After Keiko asked Quan Yu's opinion, she also agreed. However, a large number of seal art talents are needed to lay out the defensive array, or they will have to face all kinds of bad weather when they fall below the clouds. Quan Yu had considered this matter before, but he didn't have enough manpower, so he could arrange it, but he didn't have so much time. After obtaining Quan Yu's permission, all major ninja villages began to send seal squads here to step up the deployment of defensive arrays. Otherwise, it would be troublesome to go to the Sky Council once, and it is not conducive to communication at all. And this day, Quan Yu saw Itachi coming with a big package in his own space. So he finished his cultivation and came out of the space. Quan Yu, this is what you want. Itachi put the package on the ground and opened it. I saw the package unfolded, revealing various masks. It's very fast, Quan Yu said with a smile. Itachi smiled. Quan Yu, why do you want these things? Itachi was a little puzzled. After the last meeting, Quan Yu found Itachi alone and asked him to find these masks in the country of Vortex. But what is the use of these noodles? They are just ordinary masks. Don't underestimate them, there is a half-tailed beast hidden inside, Quan Yu said with a smile. Then he opened the blue 10-star eyes and began to scan the masks. Half-tailed beast. Itachi couldn't believe it. These masks didn't look like a seal technique, and it was unrealistic to seal the tail beast in the mask. But since Quan Yu said it, it's really possible. Quan Yu opened the eyes of the 10 blue stars and soon found a somewhat different mask. Then he took up the mask. It's the same as it was recorded in the Book of Seals, this is it. This is a mask of ghosts and gods, which looks a bit scary. From the outside, this is an ordinary mask. Itachi looked at the mask in Quan Yu's hand curiously. Quan Yu was thinking, how can the soul of Namikaze Minato be released? If Orochimaru's method is used, although Kuan Yu is confident that he should not be sealed, he cannot take this risk. And to summon Shinigami, you must also use this technique. Sealing has always been a bug of Hokage. What if his soul is sealed? Ghoul sealing is not a general sealing technique, it is specifically aimed at the soul. It seems to be used by other people, but he is a little bit reluctant to let his own people use it. Let's wait for a while, it really doesn't work, it's okay to catch a traitor and use illusion to control it. At this time, Kuan Yu, Bai hurriedly ran here. Uchiha Madara's people are below, I want to talk to you alone, Bai ran over and said. Oh, it seems that he already knows, bring people over, Kuan Yu thought for a while and said. Bring it here. Bai was taken aback. She thought that Kuan Yu would go down by herself, after all, this was their base. Itachi also frowned. Don't worry, they should know the location of our base, and it doesn't matter if you bring it over, Kuan Yu said indifferently. It is estimated that it is White Zetsu and the like, and Juehei Obito is afraid that he will not dare to appear in front of him. Okay, I'll make arrangements, Bai nodded and said, and then left. After Bai left, what did they send someone over for? Itachi asked suspiciously. Oh, you left before, maybe I don't know, Nagato was resurrected by me, Kuan Yu explained. Itachi was taken aback, but a few thoughts flashed in his mind immediately. Uchiha got Rinnegan back, yes, Kuan Yu nodded and said. Itachi nodded. He remembered Kuan Yu saying that after he was resurrected, Mangekyo would disappear. It's the same if I want to come to Rinnegan. If such a powerful force can be copied at will, I'm afraid this world will be destroyed long ago. One of Rinnegan's ability is to resurrect the dead, but the price to pay is not small. In the current situation, Uchiha Madara has been resurrected, Kuan Yu explained. Itachi was slightly surprised, but he recovered immediately. Kuan Yu had previously said that Uchiha Madara would be resurrected, but he did not mention Rinnegan's ability. Kuan Yu can do it too, and it is not surprising that Uchiha Madara can do it. Then why did he come to you? Doesn't he want to keep the agreement anymore? Itachi frowned and said. No, Uchiha Madara is not as shameless as his two men, but he came to me for something, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Something? Itachi was puzzled. It's this. A test tube appeared in Kuan Yu's hand. Rinnegan has always kept such an important thing in the space. This is. Itachi's eyes narrowed. What Kuan Yu holds is Rinnegan soaked in green solution. I didn't expect that Nagato would actually let Konan hand over Rinnegan to me, Kuan Yu shook his head and said. Na Kuan Yu. What are your plans? Uchiha Madara shouldn't let it go. The light in Itachi's eyes flickered. Rinnegan Madara will never give up. I have a headache. I didn't plan to take Nagato's Rinnegan before, but I didn't expect Nagato to give me another one. It is reasonable to return it to Madara. But I'm not willing to go back like this. Itachi was also silent. Kuan Yu is not yet confident enough to get rid of Uchiha Madara. If Rinnegan stays in his hands, it will undoubtedly be a big trouble. Obviously, the other party came to Kuan Yu and guessed that Rinnegan was in Kuan Yu's hands. Although Kuan Yu is not afraid of Uchiha Madara, what if the opponent attacks other villages frantically? Kuan Yu couldn't stop it, and the shinobi world was in chaos. Kuan Yu, you want to exchange some conditions with Rinnegan, Itachi said after thinking about it. Yes, but this condition must be within Madara's acceptance range. I don't think he will give me too much time, Kuan Yu said. 1.5 years should be the limit that Madara can accept, and Madara shouldn't let herself continue to grow. I didn't expect other conditions, Kuan Yu said helplessly. Indeed, Kuan Yu now has nothing special except time. Madara will not give it to the tail beast. Then stay in your hands for insurance, let him keep the promised insurance, Itachi said. Kuan Yu's heart moved. Itachi, you mean, we will wait 1.5 years before handing over Rinnegan to Madara? Yes, this is just in case, to prevent Madara from not being allowed to keep the promise and do it in advance. Kuan Yu pondered for a while. Although this price is indeed not very high, and it is not good for me, but even so may make Madara very difficult to accept. It's useless for Kuan Yu to hold Rinnegan by himself. Rinnegan, he would have taken all of it long ago. And Madara is so arrogant, she shouldn't break her promise casually. But this condition is not impossible. It depends on what the other party says, there is no way to disagree with him. They can't pay any price, let Kuan Yu hand over Rinnegan. Well, let me think about it. It depends on the other person's attitude. Kuan Yu nodded and said. But immediately Kuan Yu glanced at Itachi and said. Itachi, I have prepared your body, When are you going to resurrect? Kuan Yu said suddenly. Are you ready? Itachi's expression was somewhat complicated. Kuan Yu knew that he was still resisting when he looked at Itachi's expression. Looking at the beginning, there is nothing wrong with being alive. You used to live for others, but now you are living for yourself. There are still many things to experience in life. Don't leave regrets for yourself. Itachi was silent. Sasuke has to wait a few years to mature. You don't want to see his future children, or find someone to marry yourself. You have to know that there are only a few of you Uchiha. If you want to make up for your family, let the Uchiha clan flourish again. Kuan Yu smiled smirkly on his face. But Itachi looked embarrassed. But Kuan Yu was right. If he does not resurrect, Sasuke is left alone, and the Uchiha family will almost die in name. I will think about it. You are busy first, and I will come to you later, Itachi said with a glance behind him. After speaking, Itachi left here in a flash. Kuan Yu smiled. Since Itachi said that, it means that he has an idea. Kuan Yu looked forward, and Bai Zheng walked over with a white zetsu. Bai took white zetsu to Kuan Yu's side, nodded to Kuan Yu, and then turned and left. Meeting Master Izumi Yu, white zetsu said with a smile. Oh, just let you come, and Obito. Why don't you dare to come? Kuan Yu looked at white zetsu and said. On the Akatsuki base, there is also a white zetsu. He is repeating what Kuan Yu said in the same tone as Kuan Yu. Damn it, Obito gritted his teeth. How could he run to Kuan Yu to die? Although Kuan Yu might not be able to do it, he would not take this risk. Tell him he can talk to me directly, Madara said lightly. The white zetsu nodded. Master Madara wants to talk to you directly, white zetsu said. Well, let me just say, what price can you offer in exchange for Rinnegan? Kuan Yu said lightly. The other party had already guessed that he didn't need to bend around. Negotiations, of course, require the master's initiative. As soon as Kuan Yu said this, Madara frowned. They didn't have any price to give Kuan Yu, and they couldn't give Kuan Yu the tail beast that Kuan Yu wanted. What price do you want? Madara said. He threw the problem to Kuan Yu and let Kuan Yu choose. A tail beast, and it must be complete. Kuan Yu set a condition that the other party could not accept. It's impossible. Madara was a little angry. Then you say, what can you guys give? Normal things can't get into my eyes, but Obito's eyes are okay. He, Kuan Yu said with a smile. You. Obito was furious. Madara glanced at Obito. Change conditions. You should discuss it first, Kuan Yu sneered. Madara fell silent over there. I have something to exchange. Orochimaru stood up and said with a smile. Oh, Uchiha Madara was slightly surprised. This Orochimaru is still very useful. It has provided them with a lot of help, and now they say that there is something that can be exchanged with Kuan Yu Rinnegan? Kuan Yu's original body is with me, although he doesn't necessarily care, but the price of being a part of it is okay, Orochimaru said. Between Kuan Yu and Uchiha Madara, it is obvious that Kuan Yu does not want to do it now. So Kuan Yu is unlikely to keep Rinnegan in his hands, it's just a matter of price. Tell him, Madara didn't care. It is impossible to just exchange to Rinnegan with a body. My body. I really want to get it back, but it's not enough, and, Orochimaru, you wait for me, Kuan Yu said after hearing White Zetsu's words. Haha, Orochimaru laughed twice, not paying attention to Kuan Yu's threat. Uchiha Madara stood up. Speak straight, Kuan Yu. What do you want? I don't want to have meaningless conversations. I think you should know something that I can't give you. Tell me your terms. Obviously Madara has lost patience. Yes, my condition is very simple. It is still the previous agreement. You can't do anything to the villages within 1.5 years. I will give Rinnegan to you when the time is up. You don't believe me. Madara narrowed her eyes. No, I don't believe your people. After all, they have done a very bad thing. If you exchange some of them, I will give you Rinnegan right away, Kuan Yu said with a smile. And my conditions are very relaxed, you guys have paid nothing. Madara glanced at Obito. Of course he knew that Obito had kidnapped Kuan Yu's family. Obito's face was ugly, and he didn't dare to look directly into Madara's eyes. Madara was silent for a while. Kuan Yu over there is not in a hurry. The excuse has been found, it depends on Madara's meaning. Well, I believe you, and hope you abide by the agreement. As a sincere, I will return your body to you, Madara said. Of course, you should have investigated my past. When I didn't keep my promise, and I wanted Rinnegan, you never got the chance to go back. Madara listened to the voice coming from White Zetsu, her eyes narrowed. You are very confident. Then I will give you another promise, and I will let you witness the world I created with my own eyes. Hope, but I don't think you will succeed. The two spoke ruthlessly in the open and secretly. But Madara still believes that Kuan Yu will return Rinnegan to him, because Kuan Yu is indeed capable of taking all Rinnegan. Although he didn't know why Kuan Yu gave up this choice, confident, or something else. Send Kuan Yu's body, and it is forbidden to shoot at the villages, especially you Obito. Madara glanced at Obito, who was silent. A year and a half, I can afford to wait, Madara left after saying. Obito was silent. He knew what Madara was talking about. He had known that he should act immediately to get his eyes back. It was impossible to drive now. Kuan Yu, you wait for me. On the other hand, Orochimaru smiled, paying Kuan Yu's body just to reduce Madara's defense mentality. Kuan Yu's cells are enough, and it doesn't matter if his body is returned. Kuan Yu's decision also gave him a huge advantage. He didn't know that Madara had gathered the conditions for the resurrection of 10 Tails. Once Kuan Yu returned to Rinnegan, all the initiative was in Madara's hands. Madara has the strongest power, it is not impossible to destroy the promise. But now Rinnegan is in Kuan Yu's hands, that is, Madara has sealed 10 Tails in his body and dare not destroy her promise. Otherwise, Kuan Yu destroys Rinnegan, and his infinite Tsukuyomi would be a failure. And he didn't even dare to resurrect 10 Tails now, otherwise the abnormal change of 10 Tails resurrection would definitely arouse Kuan Yu's idea. Even Kuan Yu didn't expect Madara to bypass 3 Tails in Kuan Yu. This is also the reason why Kuan Yu's understanding of the plot is not detailed enough. After all, 3 Tails lost one eye when it appeared, and the original plot didn't mention this at all, just a vague clue. Master Kuan Yu, I will leave first, White Zetsu said. Wait. One thing I am curious about is whether you will be affected by illusion. Kuan Yu's eyes lit up. Immediately cast an illusion technique on the White Zetsu in front of him. A gust of wind blew, and White Zetsu stood there blankly. He cast illusion on White Zetsu over there, and his consciousness can't be passed on, White Zetsu in Akatsuki's organization base said suddenly. Must frown. Don't worry about him, it's just a White Zetsu. I don't care about the loss of a White Zetsu. These are just cannon fodder. If Kuan Yu wants to study, let him go. The conditions for resurrecting 10 Tails are ready. The next step is to get Rinnegan back, summon the sacred tree, cast infinite Tsukuyomi, and resurrect the mother. After waiting so many years for Ju, I didn't care about this time. White Zetsu didn't have any expression when he heard Ju's words. They were originally war weapons, and they were consciously fighting for better. Even their consciousness is a collection, and loss is nothing. On the other hand, Kuan Yu studied White Zetsu carefully. White Zetsu is a product after infinite Tsukuyomi, and it stands to reason that it should not be affected by low-level illusions. Illusion can only be covered by higher-level illusion. Just like Kuan Yu's distinguished heavenly gods, if someone uses infinite Tsukuyomi on Kabuto and then dismisses it, then after Kabuto wakes up, distinguished heavenly gods will also be dismissed. Kuan Yu didn't know what happened to White Zetsu. Kuan Yu carefully poured his pupil power into White Zetsu's mind. But he immediately felt a force similar to his pupil power occupying White Zetsu's mind. Kuan Yu frowned. Yin escape, White Zetsu is conscious by this thing. Just try it out, and I have nothing to lose anyway. Kuan Yu directly used a lot of pupil power to annihilate White Zetsu's consciousness, and White Zetsu immediately convulsed twice and became limp. He was caught directly by Kuan Yu. Then Kuan Yu poured his pupil power into White Zetsu. This is. Kuan Yu was startled, he immediately withdrew his hand. White Zetsu in front of him opened his eyes. So, Kuan Yu said, rubbing his chin. So this is the function of Yin Dan. Kuan Yu has never found the usage of Yin Dan, but now he has discovered it. As mentioned in the original work, Madara created Black Zetsu with his own will, but it was Black Zetsu's will that swallowed Madara's will, making Madara think that Black Zetsu was created by him. And Kuan Yu's current method is the method used by Madara. Interesting. I seem to remember that Otsutsuki Sharon also used a similar method to control the puppets, even directly controlling people. Kuan Yu thought for a while and said. However, this ability does not have much effect on Kuan Yu, and he does not use this simple method to control people. It is not better to use distinguished heavenly gods. And it seems that he can't control it remotely, and can only transmit information through pupil power. According to this White Zetsu, Kuan Yu and Madara can communicate with each other. It can be known that there is a conscious connection between them. But considering that their source is 10 tails, and the Otsutsuki Sharon also have giant Tensigan, they can transmit consciousness from a distance, Kuan Yu is not surprised. And this experiment also let him know what Ultimate's shadow represents. Well, that's the case. I seem to know how to burst out the strongest sword aura, although some tricks, I can only gradually temper it later, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Kuan Yu pulled out Zhangfeng and waved lightly at the sky in front of him. There is no sound, but there seemed to be something fleeting in front of Kuan Yu. It is as expected, Kuan Yu retracted Zan Feng into his sheath. That's right. Kuan Yu used to wield sword aura completely by relying on chakra, and later also added the power of shaping, to explode that level of sword aura. I didn't even think about integrating my pupil power into it. But now it's different. Kuan Yu got inspiration from the word will. He remembered what Mifune had told him before, that he had to put his will into the sword to explode sword energy out of thin air. Kuan Yu has already done it just now. The power of Yin Dun blended into the sword and was swung out, directly affecting the air, condensing the air together, forming an invisible sword air. This is the profound meaning of Kendo. But in essence, chakra is used, but the attributes are different. And most people want to cultivate the will, or the difficulty of ultimate escape. It is simply difficult to reach the sky. It is impossible without hard mental tempering, and it is not necessarily successful. But they can also wield sword energy out of thin air. You don't need an ultimate shadow like Kuan Yu, as long as your will affects the outside world. It's just that the stronger the will, the stronger the sword aura he wields. And the benefits are more than that. Through the willpower incorporated into it, Kuan Yu's attack can also distinguish the enemy. Killing the person he wants to kill, that is to say, if the enemy is mixed with his own, Kuan Yu can directly wield a sword aura to kill all the enemies without harming his own. The integration of Yin Dun also allows chakra to better control, but too much integration will reduce the power. To control the proportion. But this kind of thing is only strengthening some of Kuan Yu's abilities, and it is not very useful for him to defeat Madara. What he needs is absolute strength. Kuan Yu glanced at White Zetsu in front of him. White Zetsu smiled slightly, and then quickly changed his appearance, becoming Chuan Yu. How to say it, this is equivalent to a shadow clone with a true body. It's still useful, Kuan Yu smiled. A lot of roots of wood-style clone emerged from Kuan Yu's body. Then quickly formed a lot of wood-style clones, and this time to construct the clones, he added his will into them. This is equivalent to these clones becoming the shadow clone that he will not dissipate. As long as chakra is not exhausted, they will not disappear. In fact, it is not very useful, but these clones can only supplement chakra from other places and increase the maintenance time. Kuan Yu doesn't need to cancel shadow clone to receive the memory as before, as long as he uses the pupil power to contact, the memory can be returned. Chakra can also find Jifu to supplement them. Make Kuan Yu more convenient. Hey, go to practice, and strive to cultivate the fire attribute as soon as possible, Kuan Yu sighed. I don't know how long I have been practicing, and the memories passed back by a large number of shadow clone always make him feel that time has passed for a long time. The wind attribute breaks the limit of the ultimate achievement bloodline, and there is no instance in Hokage for Kuan Yu to refer to. He couldn't even find the direction. Only to cultivate the fire attribute first. Amaterasu Kuan Yu of Itachi observed that it was indeed only a pure fire attribute. It can be used as a reference. The black thunder of the thunder attribute, Kuan Yu also let Darui cast it, and it is true that it is a pure thunder attribute. In this way, he only needs the wind attribute. This can only wait for the other two attributes to be cultivated, and to study in the remaining time, because he doesn't know how long it will take to cultivate the wind attribute bloodline. Wait. Find the white arrangements, and bring a betrayer to come up, Kuan Yu instructed the clone. White Zetsu has no soul, and can't use the soul-type sealing technique of the ghoul to seal it, so Kuan Yu had to find a betrayal. Then he entered the space again and began to practice. He couldn't give up the training of physical skills. The activation of the 7 layers is the limit of the body, even if it is 1 layer less than the 8 inner gates. But with his physical condition at that time, it is estimated that he could explode with strength not inferior to Guy. Moreover, the activity of his body itself is high, turning on the 7 layers of activation, the activity of the body is even higher. This also meant that even if Kuan Yu was injured at that time, he could recover instantly. But there is no doubt that using this technique will consume a lot of Kuan Yu's physical potential, but he himself has the Master's Yang attribute, and he can quickly replenish his vitality and potential with natural energy. This was prepared in case the 5 element attributes were not cultivated successfully. Kuan Yu would not do anything unsure. Humph. Madara, even if you turn on the 6 paths mode later, I can hit you all over the floor with physique. Physical exercises are undoubtedly the strongest strength Kuan Yu is most likely to cultivate in a year and a half. What's more, he still has this. Kuan Yu looked at the mask in his hand, and then threw it aside. And at this time, 3rd generation is also preparing to transplant Ghost Loya. Master 3rd generation, please drip blood on Ghost Loya, Beiluhu said cautiously. Although he was unwilling, he did not dare to defy 3rd generation. 3rd generation frowned as he watched the black-gray tentacles flaring their teeth and claws in the container. A symbolic array is also arranged around the container. This kind of thing is not a good thing in any way, but he has no choice. Let's start with a stroke of 3rd generation's finger on his wrist. A burst of blood flowed out. He raised his hand, and the blood continued to drip on the Ghost Loya before being absorbed. This made the already active Ghost Loya become more active, and the tentacles were constantly dancing, extending towards the wrist of 3rd generation that was dripping blood. Drink. Suddenly, Beiluhu put his hand on the talisman array, and the talisman array around the container was activated. Ghost Loya, who was still fangs and dancing claws, suddenly seemed to be restricted, and all the tentacles stopped. Then slowly began to retract, while the blood of 3rd generation was still dripping. It was faintly visible that a little red appeared on the black-gray Ghost Luoya, which was still expanding. And Ghost Loya's tentacles were also retracted, turning into a slime-like mass, fluctuating slightly. Master 3rd generation, speed up, this requires a lot of blood, said Beiluhu. He temporarily suppressed the activity of Ghost Loya through the rune array, but this could only last for a while. If the fusion was not accelerated, the implantation would have failed. Ghost Loya is originally a creature that is good at swallowing. If you don't want to make him feel that you are one with it, you will be swallowed by it if you rush into it. But even so, his devouring nature still cannot be changed. Even if it is implanted in the body, it has to be suppressed in other ways. 3rd generation frowned, then his body shook, and suddenly more blood flowed out of his wrist. And after the blood was absorbed by Gui Loya, its body was constantly dyed red. Until it is all dyed red. Blood as a matchmaker, not. Beiluhu drank again, and suddenly the surrounding symbols lit up. The Ghost Loya in the center of the talisman also trembled, and the blood that had originally covered his body was quickly disappearing. Master 3rd generation, it's now. The 3rd generation also knew that it was a critical moment. The wrist that was still dripping blood was inserted into the Ghost Luoya in an instant, and the place where it was inserted was where the Ghost Luoya still had blood. 3rd generation's body shook, and then there was a twitch. He could feel a large amount of blood being pumped out of his body, and at the same time, it seemed that something cold was entering his body. The fact is also true, the Ghost Loya there is slowly getting smaller. In the end, all turned into tentacles, and drilled in from 3rd generation's severed wrist. Huh, it's successful, Bailu breathed out and said. At this time, 3rd generation's complexion was a little pale, and his body was trembling slightly. It seemed that the loss of so much blood had a great impact on his current body. And the change is not just that, it must be known in the body of 3rd generation. 3rd generation could feel a cold sensation spreading across his body, and he knew it was Ghost Loya. And when Gui Loya spread to his chest, he felt that there seemed to be a change. Gui Loya seemed to become more active, which made 3rd generation feel uncomfortable. Then 3rd generation felt the body heat, and the original discomfort was wiped out. 3rd generation frowned. This is. He pulled away his clothes, and saw that his originally haggard body was actually becoming full and white. The human face that was originally implanted with 1st generation cells disappeared. Yes, in order to avoid being discovered by others, 3rd generation chose the chest where the Hashirama cells were implanted. The effect is so good, 3rd generation was also surprised. Master 3rd generation. Beiluhu looked at 3rd generation in surprise. I saw that the old face of 3rd generation was constantly changing. Wrinkles are disappearing, skin is becoming firmer, even the old man Madara is disappearing. The original white beard and hair are also falling off, and then the new black hair grows out. Kaka the back of 3rd generation, who was still a little bit awkward, straightened up straight, and the whole person seemed to grow straight up. After he injected Hashirama cells, although Sharingan was in balance, it only helped him restore some physical fitness, and did not change much. And now he feels like he has been reborn. Hashirama cells are fully activated, but there is no backlash. He clenched his fists, and a sense of strength came to life, a feeling he hadn't experienced in a long time. A feeling of coldness gradually spread to his eyes. This shocked third generation's body again. Sharingan, who was still absorbing his chakra, actually stopped absorbing it. Click, a shell-like voice rang in third generation's mind. Is this going to be fused with Sharingan? It's surprisingly easy to use, third generation thought. But at this moment, third generation's head dizzy, and a memory appeared in his mind. This made third generation's body pause. Master third generation, how do you feel? Beiluhu said cautiously. The changes in third generation are amazing. This situation is definitely not caused by the implantation of Ghost Loya. There are other things in third generation, but Ghost Loya helps third generation integrate. Very good. There was no backlash. A smile suddenly appeared on third generation's face. There is no backlash, Beilu exclaimed in surprise. He still remembered that when he merged into Gui Loya, it was simply painful. Why is there no backlash in third generation? It's something else in his body. Beiluhu was a little excited. Could it be that after he merged, he could also restore his body from the backlash? Third generation looked at Beiluhu's expression. After being a Hokage for so long, he certainly knew what Beiluhu was thinking. Hee. Get ready for what's next, I won't forget you, third generation said with a smile. It's just that the cold light flashes in his eyes. This Beiluhu is still useful, but he doesn't want Beiluhu to know too many secrets. It seems that he still has to deal with it later. Yes, I'm going to prepare right away, Beiluhu said excitedly. Third generation nodded and let Beiluhu leave. Then he touched his eyes, and suddenly a pair of lenses appeared in his hand. But in his eyes were a pair of black eyes, and then his pupils instantly turned red, and 1, 2, and 3 Guyu appeared one after another. He has completely mastered the power of Sharingan. Is this Sharingan? I didn't expect this power to belong to me one day, ha ha ha. Third generation looked at his white hands and laughed. Then Sharingan in his eyes disappeared. But it's troublesome now, third generation said with a frown. He is exactly what he was when he was young, and he certainly couldn't go out to meet people in this way. It seems it's time for Tsunade to continue to be Hokage. Transformation technique, bang, smoke exploded around third generation, and then he became old again. With his ability, no one will find anomalies in a short time. After he has absolute strength, he doesn't need to hide. Although he is now at his peak and even possesses Sharingan, he still hasn't seen enough in front of those two people. Soon, I will soon have strength no weaker than you. Gui Loya didn't backlash, giving third generation full of confidence, and believed that there would be no problems with the subsequent integration. He was able to maintain the balance of the 5 elements and gain the strongest power. But will the result really be what he thought? Can the balance of the 5 elements be achieved by relying on the bloodline collected from patchwork? Although he also had doubts in this regard, he was already bewildered by the power he had just gained. He thought that even if he couldn't reach the balance of the 5 elements, he would not be backlashed by Ghost Loya, and then he would just collect other bloodlines. But what he didn't know was that his fusion was due to the balance of yin and yang, coupled with the increased vitality of his body by Hashirama cells, so he was not backed up by Ghost Loya. It can be said that Hashirama's cells played a decisive role. As for the later, it is not so easy to gain supreme power, especially to take shortcuts. Time suddenly passed. The other major ninja villages have completed their exchanges in their own country, and the ninja world seems to have calmed down again. Although they found the bloodline ninja disappeared in their own country, they just sent someone to investigate it and didn't pay much attention to it. They are more concerned about the rematch between Quan Yu and Uchiha Madara more than a year later. The defensive enchantment of the Sky Council was quickly completed under the joint efforts of the villages. The height of the Sky City has also been lowered below the clouds, and the flying vehicles are in an endless stream, making this neutral city become lively. Various kinds of information are constantly exchanged here, and countries have also regarded this place as a place for resource circulation. In addition to foreign countries, all countries have offices here. If there are any resources to trade, it is easy to find buyers. The ninja world was calmed down like never before. In the space, Quan Yu looked at a Sanagakure trader who had been hit by an illusion in front of him. This is the one he used to seal up with ghouls. Kabuto couldn't complete the operation of impure world reincarnation directly using the soul, and they didn't have the body organization of 4th generation. So Quan Yu can only come. I don't know if I can summon Shinigami in my space, Quan Yu muttered to himself. This is his exclusive space, and he is not sure if he can summon Shinigami. He didn't even figure out the essence of Shinigami. But it's okay to give it a try. It really doesn't work. Let this person go outside to summon Shinigami first, and then move to the space. Kuan Yu put the ghost mask on the face of the ninja and stepped back. The light in his eyes flashed. The ninja on the opposite side began to seal. Si, Hai, Wei, Mao, Shu, Zi, Yu, Wu. See, the ghouls are completely sealed in the Book of Seals, but there is no need for Kuan Yu to visit Konoha. This is the seal technique that Kuan Yu has seen the most use of seals, which is enough to prove the special seal of ghouls. I saw the opposite ninja put his hands together, and a wave of fluctuations dispersed. Summoning. Kuan Yu discovered the temporal and spatial fluctuations, but he didn't stop him. He was just surprised that Shinigami came out of summoning. And this is a summoning technique that spans space. A Shinigami phantom wearing a white robe and translucent, quickly unfolded from the traitor. Shinigami's face was exactly the same as the mask worn by the Renin, with a short blade in his mouth. The phantom is also very big, occupying almost half of Kuan Yu's space. Hee. When you get here, you can only listen to me, give it to me, Kuan Yu sneered. No matter how special this Shinigami is, he must be listened to in his space. Suddenly, Shinigami's phantom shrank quickly and became a lot smaller, and even the original hollow state felt solidified. It seems that even Shinigami can't resist the rules here. But even if Izumi did this, Shinigami didn't respond. Kuan Yu also doesn't know whether this Shinigami has his own consciousness, but depending on the situation, the Shinigami in front of him should be absent. Below is the cut of Shinigami's belly. But Kuan Yu didn't want the traitor to come, he didn't want to get here. The person who summons Shinigami can synchronize Shinigami's movements. As long as he cuts his stomach with a sharp blade, Shinigami will do the same. This is the method used by Orochimaru in the original work, but Kuan Yu has a better way. Izumi narrowed his eyes and opened his hand to Shinigami. Then you can see that Shinigami's hand opposite Kuan Yu actually moved, as if Kuan Yu was currently controlling this Shinigami. Shinigami slowly took off the short blade from his mouth, and then stretched it to his stomach, making a sharp stroke. Suddenly a gap appeared in Shinigami's stomach. Something seems to be coming out. Kuan Yu's eyes lit up, and the blue 10-star eyes suddenly opened. He can see the chakras, and the soul is wrapped in them. Of course, it is impossible to have only one soul in Shinigami's belly, and these souls all look the same. It is difficult to tell who is the soul of Namikaze Minato. However, Namikaze Minato's soul has half a 9 tails, which gave Kuan Yu a chance. Through the insight of the blue 10-star eyes, he quickly discovered that unique soul. With Kuan Yu's move, the group of souls flew into Kuan Yu's hands. Then Kuan Yu waved, and moved the other souls out of the space with the traitor. The outside clone will handle these things, and it doesn't matter if those souls have been sealed for so long to send them back to the Pure Land. Kuan Yu's eyebrows brightened, and a large amount of blue jelly came out. These are the yin and yang escapes that Kuan Yu stored in the 100 healings mark. His body can't hold too much yin and yang escape, so he thought of 100 healings mark, which he hadn't used much. The effect is very good. The yin-yang escape stored in the 100 healings mark is not weaker than the previous Tensigen, and it will not spill. This surprised Kuan Yu a little, and he didn't expect that 100 healings mark could be used in this way. But now is not the time to think about this. The blue yin and yang gathered in front of Kuan Yu, and Kuan Yu directly pressed the soul on his hand in. The surface of yin-yang escape began to fluctuate, and its shape was slowly changing. The soul is injected into yin-yang dun without Kuan Yu's interference. Yin-yang dun will solidify the soul and then manifest it. It didn't take long for the yin and yang to expand into a human form. I am. The pure blue figure raised his hands and made a surprised voice. Hello. 4th generation. Kuan Yu's eyes disappeared from the blue 10-star eyes, and he smiled at Namikaze Minato. Who are you and why did I appear here? Namikaze Minato, who had not fully realized yet, looked at this small space in surprise. My name is Kuan Yu and I am a good friend of Naruto. Kuan Yu took Naruto out to block the knife in order to prevent Minato from doubting himself. Naruto. Namikaze Minato's expression was shocked, but immediately became silent. Who on earth is your lord? I should be dead, and I should have another purpose for resurrecting your lord. Color began to appear on Namikaze Minato's body, and quickly expanded. Soon it became exactly the same as a real person. Namikaze Minato frowned. This situation is definitely not something ordinary people can do. Although the person in front of him is young, he will not underestimate him. There is no chakra in him, but it can't help him. Seeing his eyes closed slightly, a red chakra loomed around him. You'd better not use the tailed beast chakra in this state. Your body is composed of yin and yang, so that using the tailed beast chakra is easy to be infected. Kuan Yu shook his head and said. Kuan Yu snapped his fingers, and the red chakra on Namikaze Minato disappeared. This is. Namikaze Minato was shocked. The other party directly suppressed Nine Tails chakra without noticing it. I have no ill intentions, I am really good friends with Naruto, and I also came from Konoha, Kuan Yu said helplessly. He seems to have no one here who can prove his identity. Forget it, I'll take you out to have a look, Kuan Yu waved. The two immediately disappeared in this space. At this time, the traitor who had just been transferred by Kuan Yu had already been dealt with by his clone. And Namikaze Minato appeared here in a trance. He looked at a large number of Kuan Yu clones sitting here in a little surprise. Let's go. This is the Sky Council, I will take you to see it, Kuan Yu said with a smile. With the previous experience, he should no longer use the tail beast chakra. Kuan Yu is not worried that Namikaze Minato will run away without chakra. Sky Council? Why haven't I heard of it? Namikaze Minato looked at the strange buildings around. There was also the low cloud layer behind him, and he quickly figured out that it was on a high place. The Sky Council was established by me. It was not long after it was established. You don't know it's normal, Kuan Yu walked forward slowly. You built it, didn't you say that you were born in Konoha? Namikaze Minato frowned. Konoha should not allow his ninja to establish other organizations. Because I defected, Kuan Yu turned his head and smiled at Minato. What? Minato was startled. Don't be surprised. My relationship with Konoha is more complicated. To be more precise, my current name is Senju, Kuan Yu said without turning around. Minato hesitated to see Kuan Yu was about to leave, and followed him. Of course he knew the Senju family, but what did the young man in front of him have to do with Konoha? The Sky Council is an organization to protect the ninja world from infringement and prevent wars in various countries. To be precise, this is a neutral organization, Kuan Yu said as he walked. Neutral organization? I don't think other countries will allow you to exist. Minato is also a generation of Hokage, and the problem was quickly discovered from Kuan Yu's words. Of course, my organization has been a joke in the eyes of all countries for a long time, Kuan Yu said with a smile. That's not it now. Minato's gaze narrowed. Yes. They soon came to a gate held by the samurai. Master Kuan Yu, the samurai saluted. Kuan Yu nodded and continued to move forward. Samurai? You won the Iron Country, Minato said in surprise. Not only that, now except for the Fire Nation, the other four powers have joined the Sky Council. What? Minato was shocked. This is a little unbelievable in his eyes. Several major countries have actually joined the Sky Council. How could this be possible? And why didn't he, the country of fire, where Kuan Yu was born, join? This makes Minato suspicious, and Kuan Yu's face is too young, how can this make him believe? Kuan Yu, a voice came. It turned out that Konkuro discovered Kuan Yu who was walking. Kuan Yu, I came out so free today, Konkuro walked over and said with a smile. Hey, this is. He looked at Minato beside Kuan Yu with some doubts. Sanagakure people. Minato looked at Konkuro's forehead protector and thought in surprise. Gradually, Konkuro's eyes became shocked. Fourth Hokage, Kuan Yu, you brought him back to life. Hello. I am Namikaze Minato. Minato nodded and said. Yes, some things need his help, and now I'm taking him to understand the situation, Kuan Yu explained. Oh, then I won't bother. Konkuro knows that Kuan Yu's time is tight, and if he summons fourth Hokage, there must be an important thing. The resurrection was no surprise in his eyes, so he took some people and left. Let's go. I'll take you to see the ninjas in other villages, Kuan Yu walked forward. And Minato followed with doubts. He felt that Kuan Yu shouldn't be lying to him, the four big nations had really joined the Sky Council. Soon they came to a high platform, and below it was a square, where ninjas from various villages came and went, and flying devices were constantly flying in and out. Presents a scene of prosperity. Minato looked at everything in front of him and couldn't believe it. The chakra radiated from these people were not weak ninjas. How did Kuan Yu do it? I'm very curious, how I did it, Kuan Yu said softly. Minato nodded. Because I am strong enough, so strong that all countries don't dare to resist. Kuan Yu's words shocked Minato. How strong must this be to make several big countries dare not to resist? Of course, he who has been a Hokage knows the power of a country. What's more, these are still 4 major countries. His mind was blank. It's only Konoha. They didn't join for some reasons, but if I want to, they can't resist, Kuan Yu continued. This sentence shocked Minato's body again. You have ruled the ninja world. Minato's mouth was full of bitterness. He didn't expect that he would encounter such a situation when he was resurrected. No, I am neutral. They are willing to join, Kuan Yu said with a smile, seeing the effect achieved. How can this be? Because someone stronger than me is threatening them, and these countries have to join me. Minato was silent. Kuan Yu's existence was beyond his imagination, and he didn't expect that there would be someone stronger. Kuan Yu, Itachi walked over slowly. Itachi, you probably know the situation. Take Mr. Minato around. Kuan Yu levitated. I see. Itachi nodded. Kuan Yu nodded, and then quickly flew to the sky. Master Minato, please come with me, Itachi said lightly. You belong to the Uchiha clan. Minato looked at Sharingan in Itachi's eyes in surprise. Yes, I saw you when I was a kid, Itachi said with a smile. But Kuan Yufei returned to the platform of his cultivation and sat up cross-legged. Starting to recover the yin and yang dun that he consumed, Jifu's yin and yang dun is still recovering, and Seiken is also providing chakra for Kuan Yu's clone. I am too embarrassed to smoke their yin and yang escape again. So now it's only myself. A purple mark appeared on his forehead. Kuan Yu began to absorb natural energy, and decomposed the natural energy into yin and yang, which was stored in the 100 healings mark. It takes a certain amount of time to fill up. But then it won't be used anymore. 9 Tails is strong enough to absorb natural energy. Even if it is only half of it, it can be underestimated. Once Itachi speaks to Minato, his cultivation speed will speed up again. However, 9 Tails is a hard-working master, so you have to get it to agree. Kuan Yu began to quietly absorb natural energy. I don't know how long it took, the natural energy around him unexpectedly changed. Kuan Yu frowned and opened his eyes. What's the matter? The concentration of natural energy is actually increasing, Kuan Yu said with a frown. Then he noticed the strange shape of the sky. The sun in the sky was actually much brighter, and there seemed to be a beam of light on one side connected to the sun. This is because Kuan Yu is not afraid of the sun to see it. Most people may just think that the sun today is a little dazzling. It turns out that the phenomenon caused the natural energy tide. Kuan Yu glanced at it twice, and then paid no attention. The concentration of natural energy becomes higher, and he recovers faster. And the other side. A cave on a high mountain. Lord Third Generation, it's time, He Luhu said respectfully. Third Generation nodded. He could feel Gui Loya in his body becoming very active. This is a phenomenon discovered by Bailuhu. When the celestial phenomenon appears, Gyoya will become very active, and the absorption effect is the best. Especially when it is absorbed in large amounts. The previously fused Hashirama cells and Sharingan are not difficult for Gui Loya. But now there are 5 people who want to merge, and they must wait until the celestial phenomenon appears. Although they didn't know the reason for this, Gui Loya was originally a strange creature. I see, he looked at the unconscious ninjas tied to the 5 crosses beside him, and his eyes flashed coldly. In an instant, a black-gray sludge-like substance quickly poured out of his sleeves. Then rushed towards the 5 ninjas quickly, and soon wrapped up these people. The black-gray ghost Yala kept surging on these people. But soon there was a violent fluctuation, as if the people inside were waking up and struggling constantly, but their whole bodies were wrapped in ghost Loya, and there was no sound. Struggling is useless, become my strength, Third Generation murmured. And Bei Luhu, who was not far away, looked enviously at the Third Generation standing there, who should have been standing there today. Under the erosion of Gui Loya, the ninja struggled to weaken rapidly. Third Generation's eyes condensed, and the last step was about to begin. The ghost Loya that gushed out of the body no longer fluctuated, and began to surging back and forth, apparently preparing to return to the body of Third Generation. I saw that Gui Loya quickly retracted the sleeves of Third Generation, but so many Gui Loya entered Third Generation's body, and Third Generation did not change. Third Generation closed his eyes. He could feel some inexplicable power entering his body, as if something was being absorbed by him around him. If Kuan Yu is here, you will find that Third Generation is actually absorbing natural energy. But Third Generation, he doesn't know how to immortal, and there is no immortal mark on him. What is it that is absorbing natural energy? The cave became a little quiet, and Bei Luhu looked at Third Generation with his eyes closed and did not dare to speak. Suddenly, an aura exploded on third generation's body, causing a wave of anger, and it was still rising. The terrifying aura forced Bei Lu, who was not far away, to back away 2 steps embarrassingly. The surrounding natural energy is still pouring into third generation's body, but the speed is getting faster. What a shocking chakra fluctuation, Bei Luhu said in shock. The chakra fluctuations emitted by third generation have surpassed Bei Luhu's imagination. He has never seen anyone with such a powerful chakra. It stands to reason that even if third generation integrates these people, there is no way to increase chakra to this strength. Then this situation is only related to the natural energy that third generation is constantly inhaling. It's a pity that neither of them knows how to immortal, and they can't feel natural energy at all. If third generation continues to absorb natural energy, his chakra will be even more terrifying. But will this situation continue? It didn't take long. The vision on the sun is slowly disappearing, and the natural energy that was constantly surging has gradually calmed down. The concentration is also decreasing, and the third generation in the cave no longer absorbs natural energy. The blue chakra on his body quickly spread out, and the chakra fluctuation became more intense. These chakras continued to condense, and soon they became real chakras. Third generation opened his eyes, and saw that Sharingan in his eyes had been activated, and the Guyu in it was still spinning. So strong chakra, third generation frowned. He didn't know how these chakras came from. Even if he added those bloodline ninjas to increase the capacity of the body, it is impossible to have so many chakras. The body also becomes very active, as if being activated. He took a deep breath, and the chakra on his body was gradually absorbed into his body. The original violent chakra fluctuation disappeared. Third generation can feel that his body is full of infinite power, and the amount of chakra is almost terrifying. Almost comparable to a tail beast. As this power, Before third generation finished speaking, he suddenly snorted. He quickly covered his eyes, and a line of blood ran down his fingers. Lord third generation, are you okay? Bei Luhu said quickly. If something goes wrong with third generation, it is absolutely impossible for him to survive. It's okay. Haha, I didn't expect Sharingan to evolve in this situation. Although third generation's eyes were constantly bleeding blood, his expression was very excited. He could feel that his pupil power was constantly increasing. He put down his hand and saw the 3 Guyu in his Sharingan spin fast under the stimulation of the increasing pupil power. Then it shrank suddenly, and one resembling a flower, and like a black 4-leaf clover, revolved in the eyes of third generation. Mangekyo. Third generation actually opened Mangekyo. Master third generation. Bei Luhu said in surprise. The aura on third generation erupted again, but this time it seemed a bit cold. Very good. My strength has increased again. Third generation shook hands with satisfaction. This time swallowing bloodline made his strength almost leap forward. But he didn't know exactly how far he had progressed. He could only feel that his whole body was full of power. When third generation was familiar with his body, his expression suddenly changed. A lot of memories are constantly rushing into his mind. No, it's not just memory, something is directly impacting his consciousness. Those ninjas who were devoured, humph. Third generation knelt and snorted painfully, clutching his head. And ghost Loya on his body seemed to be irritated, and some of them were out of control, unexpectedly coming out of his body. The black-gray ghost Loya wrapped half of third generation's body, still sticking out its tentacles. These tentacles extend, and ghost Loya also continues to expand in third generation. Then 10 thick tail-like tentacles were formed behind third generation. Gui Loya has bitten back, Bei Lu exclaimed in surprise. According to his design, third generation already possesses bloodline with 5 attributes, and should be able to suppress ghost Loya's backlash. The ghost Loya on third generation almost completely lost control. Could it be that it had absorbed too much? After all, there has not been a complete experiment, this is just his theoretical design. He wanted to go up and take a look, but the tentacles of ghost Loya on third generation were constantly dancing. He hurriedly approached, fearing that he would also be attacked, or he would be swallowed by the rioting ghost Loya himself. Damn, you master bloodline's waste, you dare to resist me and get out of here. The Mangekyo in the eyes of third generation spins fast, and he is using Mangekyo's power to suppress these shocking consciousness. Soon third generation suppressed these consciousnesses. After all, these were just ninjas who were not too strong. Third generation's own will is strong enough. Before adding him, Sharingan has been integrated, and now Mangekyo is turned on. The consciousness of these ninjas does not have much resistance at all. But are these ninjas really just consciousness? Third generation can feel that it can suppress these consciousnesses, but it cannot be destroyed at all. It seems that these consciousnesses have merged with him. This made third generation frown. The large amount of memory also made his head a little dizzy, that is, he did not dare to read these memories directly, and could only wait to digest them slowly later. He still needs to deal with other things now. The rioting ghost Loya makes him have no time to deal with these at all. When third generation's eyes condensed, Gui Loya, who was still in the riot, calmed down. Give me back. Third generation gave it a drink. Suddenly, Gui Loya slowly shrank towards third generation's body, and soon disappeared from his body. Third generation, whose mental state was restored, quickly suppressed Gui Loya. Third generation stood up, his complexion a bit gloomy, then he raised his hand and unzipped his sleeves. I saw a layer of brown keratin appeared on the hand where he had originally implanted Gui Loya. And the whole arm became a little skinny, but it didn't affect movement. Wei Luhu, won't you explain it to me? Third generation said lightly. Master third generation, I don't know what this is. Can't you destroy Ghost Loya yet? Bei Luhu said nervously. Third generation felt for a moment. Although his 5 elements balance showed some signs, it was not balanced. He can't fully realize the 5 kinds of chakra circulation in the body. These reluctantly collected bloodline ninjas have unbalanced attributes. Even if he had already mastered the attributes of the 5 elements himself, he was barely able to circulate the 5 elements. But just this little power can't destroy Gui Loya at all. And Ghost Loya's power was strengthened again with his swallowing. His body was even directly eroded by Gui Loya, if he continues to devour other bloodline ninjas. Then he will be more severely corroded by Ghost Loya. This erosion will slowly deepen over time. Fortunately, although his 5 elements are not completely balanced, they can still suppress such erosion to a certain extent. Once Gui Loya completely eroded him, he was afraid that he would become a monster. He must complete the 5-element cycle before Gui Loya completely erodes him and remove the ghost from his body. Hehe. The 5-element cycle has not been completed. You made a mistake in your calculations. Third generation sneered and looked at Bei Liu. Bei Liu took 2 steps back in a panic. Master third generation, there is too little time for research, and we haven't completed the experiment in detail. Perspiration was dripping on Bei Luhu's face. Oh, you mean mine was wrong? Third generation laughed. Bei Luhu's knees softened, and he immediately prostrated on the ground. Don't dare, don't dare. We can continue to collect bloodline ninjas to supplement other attributes and complete the cycle. Bei Luhu trembled with nervousness. He knew that he would be killed if he thought of third generation. He hasn't fulfilled his ideal yet, he still doesn't want to die. Haha, okay, look up. Although it didn't achieve the expected result, the strength it brought to me was not weak. I still need your help. Third generation's voice became gentle. Hearing what the third generation said, Bei Luhu was also relieved. Then he slowly raised his head. And when he raised his head, he saw a pair of blood-red eyes, and third generation arrived at his side at some point. This is. Bei Luhu's eyes became blank in an instant, and then his eyes slowly turned red. Then it became the same as third generation's Mangekyo. Third generation grunted painfully. There was blood flowing out of the corner of his eyes again, but he didn't pay attention to it, but looked at the Bei Luhu in front of him indifferently. So you can help me better, haha, third generation smiled coldly. I saw Bei Luhu who was opposite stood up, and then slowly took off the bandage wrapped around his face. A familiar face appeared in front of third generation, his own face, and he was not surprised. This is the ability possessed by his Mangekyo, which can directly turn others into his own clone, capable of acting on his own or remotely controlling himself. The clone can use all its abilities, but it also depends on how much the clone's body can exert itself. And only one can be controlled. The other ability is camouflage, which can turn him into anyone. Even chakra can camouflage, it is almost impossible to be seen through. Although it is not an attack skill, it is unexpectedly suitable. Third generation's body began to change, and then it became old. He took out the bandage and wrapped his hands that had been eroded by Gui Loya. There is no way to change this part of the body even if it is disguised. But he didn't care. His current strength still has a big gap with Quan Yu and Madara, and he needs to continue to hide. He is not arrogant to think that he can defeat Quan Yu and them now. After third generation processed it, he took a look at the clone he had just made. It's too weak. It seems that he needs to be strengthened. It happens that he also has ghost Loi on his body. It is easy to strengthen his body. Third generation's eyes kept flickering, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Quan Yu resumed his yin and yang escape and continued to practice in space. It didn't take long for him to come out because he saw the people he had been waiting for coming. I know my purpose, Quan Yu said with a smile. Opposite Minato nodded with complicated expression. You called me out, it should be for 9 tails. Yes, whether it's for 9 tails not to be obtained by Uchiha Madara, or for my own practice needs, I must get 9 tails, Quan Yu nodded and said. Where is Naruto? What are you going to do with the 9 tails in his body? Minato asked nervously. Hehe, don't worry about this. I won't extract all the 9 tails chakra in Naruto. If he agrees, I will give him the status of a council member. This way he can still use the power of 9 tails. After all, we are friends and I won't hurt him. Quan Yu said with a smile. Minato nodded. He learned more about the recent events from Itachi. Quan Yu's methods have always been relatively mild, and he has not too much ambition. And the other party wants 9 tails, he has no resistance at all. Actually, you can see Naruto, he is at Mount Myoboku, Quan Yu said. Naruto's information on Mount Myoboku was told by Mr. Tsunade. She didn't want Quan Yu to be misunderstood. I see, but 9 tails seems a little reluctant, Minato said embarrassedly. Hehe, it will agree, let me talk to it directly. There was a flash of light in Quan Yu's eyes, and the blue 10-star eyes appeared suddenly. Then Quan Yu's consciousness entered a dark space. You are Quan Yu, 9 tails said lightly while watching Quan Yu who suddenly broke in. Yes, you should know that working with me should be the best choice. Quan Yu walked to 9 tails, looked at the huge body and said. He can feel the huge energy contained in 9 tails' body, but unfortunately even they themselves can't fully control this power. And they have to be suppressed by Sharingan, and they don't have much resistance in front of Sharingan who is so much weaker than them. And Isofu and Saiken have agreed, you shouldn't doubt my character. Yes, I didn't feel malicious in you, but why should I cooperate with you? Human beings are fickle, who knows if you will change your mind, 9 tails said with disdain. That said, I don't agree. I don't care about your power. If I wanted to, I could have resurrected 10 tails and sealed you in my body. The reason why I didn't do this is that I just want to cultivate to that level by myself. Quan Yu said. Using the power of 10 tails always makes him feel unreliable. Ha ha ha. Do you know the power of 10 tails? You haven't seen it before, so you said that you don't care, and you still want to cultivate to that level, 9 tails laughed. Although I haven't seen it, I almost understand that kind of power. I'm now cultivating the power of the 5 elements, plus my master's yin and yang attributes. I think this is more reliable than the kind of power that I got suddenly. Quan Yu said with a smile. He believed that 9 tails knew what he meant. 9 tails looked shocked. You want to rely on your master 5 elements yin and yang, how can this be done? The power of the 5 elements is not so good for the master, and it is not so easy to blend together. Even if Quan Yu master has chakra with all attributes, it won't work. The power of bloodline. I have mastered 2 of the 5 single attribute bloodlines. Once I am fully mastered, the 5 elements of yin and yang will automatically merge into one. Isn't that enough? You know it well, kid, 9 tails said with squinting eyes. This kind of theory is definitely not known to ordinary people, and even it is only known from the mouth of 6 paths. If I don't know this, why should I not care about 10 tails? Quan Yu smiled lightly. Judging from the reaction of 9 tails, his theory should be correct. However, even then you can't compare to 10 tails. The power of 10 tails is endless, 9 tails said with disdain. This is what I am curious about. The source of your power seems to be your will plus natural energy, but how does this will come from? Quan Yu's eyes flashed. This question has troubled him for a long time, and there is this kind of will in Tensigan, but how is it formed? 9 tails looked at the tiny Quan Yu in front of him, somewhat silent. Why should I tell you, it's not good for us, 9 tails said, lying on the ground, eyes closed. Hehe. Even if you don't say it, I know that this kind of thing should have something to do with the soul, Quan Yu said with a smile. 9 tails non-cooperation was also in his expectation. But he had some guesses about that will. Oh, ask me if you know, 9 tails opened his eyes slightly and said. What I want to ask is how to cultivate it. Does this require any special methods? Quan Yu asked. It seems that you still don't know well. 9 tails closed her eyes and stopped paying attention to Quan Yu. He loves what he does. Since I can't practice, then I have to grab it, Kuan Yu said with a smile while staring at Nine Tails in front of him. Nine Tails immediately exploded, and it felt a burst of malice constantly emanating from Kuan Yu's body. What are you doing? Nine Tails said nervously. Of course it knows Kuan Yu's power, it is in a sealed state, and it does not have much resistance in front of Kuan Yu. Even if he went out, he couldn't be Kuan Yu's opponent. He could feel Kuan Yu's pupil power, which he couldn't resist. You also have this kind of will. Even if I can't take it away completely, it should be possible to divide apart for fusion, right? Kuan Yu laughed. Although Kuan Yu said so, the malice on him disappeared. Nine Tails is silent, this can indeed be achieved. And it can't resist yet. You want to violate the agreement with Jifu, Nine Tails said solemnly. You won't die if you smoke a little. I didn't violate it, and I still want to help you block other threats. It should be rewarded, right? Kuan Yu said maliciously. Complex emotions appeared on Nine Tails' face. Well, I agree to work with you, Nine Tails said in silence. Oh, I agree, Kuan Yu was slightly surprised. If you can rescue the other tail beasts, we can give you what you want. There is a limit to the human soul to accommodate this will, and that level is nothing to us, Nine Tails said lightly. Is there a limit? Kuan Yu was a little confused. He doesn't quite understand the problems, but he has limits, so other Otsutsuki should also have limits. He just wanted to make up for this disadvantage. Well, happy cooperation, Kuan Yu smiled and stretched out his hand to Nine Tails. You agree. Nine Tails was taken aback for a moment. This Kuan Yu obviously has an easier way, but he still chooses to cooperate with it. And just now, it was only testing Kuan Yu. Otherwise Kuan Yu would not be able to merge even if it split a part of its will. This must be the tail beast willingly, or with the help of 10 tails. There is no way to integrate their will in general methods. Although Kuan Yu doesn't know what Nine Tails thinks, he really has a way to merge. In the fairy state, he integrated the will of Tensigan, and he thought that the will of Nine Tails should also be integrated. But he was not in a hurry to obtain this will, and the effect of this will was only to make his master more yin and yang escape. It shouldn't be necessary to deal with Madara, just for the future. Besides, he can absorb natural energy, and he doesn't have too many requirements for chakra. He is not going to destroy the world. Why did he need so much chakra? Although Yin Yang Dun's recovery is slow, he is not lacking. This is just to make it easier to deal with other Otsutsuki in the future. Nine Tails made this request, just to his liking. Why don't I agree with such a favorable condition, but I want to use your Yin and Yang escape for cultivation, which is regarded as an additional condition, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Use my Yin and Yang to practice? Nine Tails was a little puzzled. You will know this later, Kuan Yu didn't explain to Nine Tails, but showed a mysterious smile. With the huge Yin and Yang escape of Nine Tails, he can accelerate for a long time. In this way, he was able to cultivate to the level of activation of the 7th level in a year and a half. This kind of cultivation becomes more difficult as it goes to the back, from the 4th to the 5th floor. He almost squeezed Jifu's Yin and Yang escape, and he has not recovered yet. Yes, I will recover quickly, you can use it if you want, Nine Tails said nonchalantly. Then he stretched out his paw and touched Kuan Yu, which was considered an agreement. Nine Tails doesn't care how much Kuan Yu's small body can use. But it will soon regret this decision. Okay, I have a container here, I can transfer you out first. Wait a moment, Kuan Yu left here after speaking. Nine Tails glanced at where Kuan Yu had left. Strange kid. Kuan Yu's consciousness returns. Nine Tails has agreed, I will transfer it out immediately, Kuan Yu said to Minato. So fast, Minato said in surprise. In order to prevent Kuan Yu from misunderstanding, he did not go to see what Kuan Yu and Nine Tails said. Kuan Yu was able to successfully communicate with Nine Tails so quickly, which surprised him. Nine Tails is still very talkative, Kuan Yu said with a smile. I don't know who threatened and intimidated it just now. Kuan Yu waved a piece of diamond-shaped metal. This piece of metal has been warmed for a long time, and the whole body has completely turned into chakra metal. Although it can accommodate Nine Tails, it is not enough to completely limit its power. The power of Nine Tails is not comparable to that of ordinary tail beasts, even if it is only half of it. I'm going to start, Kuan Yu looked slightly solemn. Although we have discussed with Nine Tails, we still need to pay special attention, otherwise it will be no fun if the container breaks. His Sky City is probably about to be destroyed by Nine Tails' huge body. Minato nodded. He had seen the status of 3 tails and 6 tails, and knew what Kuan Yu was going to do. Kuan Yu directly stretched out his hand and penetrated Minato's body. Then a pull. A red chakra was pulled out by Kuan Yu. Then Kuan Yu pressed onto the diamond-shaped metal. The red chakra was continuously drawn out by Kuan Yu, very quickly. Minato was also slightly surprised, it was so simple. However, Kuan Yu was still too slow. Don't resist. In an instant, the two disappeared here and entered Kuan Yu's space. It's much more convenient here. Kuan Yu stretched out his hand directly. A small black and red ball floated directly from Minato's body. Then it flew into the diamond-shaped metal automatically. Moreover, runes continued to appear on the diamond-shaped metal, and the seal was quickly completed. Forehead. Minato couldn't believe his eyes. It's over? This is 9 tails. He no longer feels the existence of 9 tails in his body. This is Kuan Yu's space. If 9 tails doesn't resist, he won't consume much yin and yang escape, and he can take 9 tails out and seal it. As for the diamond-shaped metal that had just been sealed, a black and red chakra appeared. Then it turned into the form of a little fox, and finally solidified. Become a little fox with 9 tails.